Right. Our MCU ranking is going live right now. Hello and welcome to the second episode of Real Ranked. We are going to be ranking the MCU movies, and we got some great people here with us. So let's just start with, I'm going to introduce Cole first. Yeah.
Hello. Oh, geez. Hello. Comic books,
we
man.
got Andrew, Just.
Hey. Hi. Hey.
Matt Carnahan.
Hello.
And Colin Topping.
Hey, excited to be here. Ready to rank some movies.
Great.
Yeah.
I did not have the okay, look, it was horror remakes, man. I didn't watch the first one. Well, watch the process here.
SMH.
What's the
Maybe
process?
you should no, I mean, we're just gonna talk, but let's just get straight into the tier list, I guess, since I know Matt has to leave for work later.
Yeah, I have to leave in 5 minutes. So let's get this over with.
Cool. All right,
It's
speed
good.
round.
That's
Let's
about all the
go.
opinions we wanted to hear from you. So.
Andrew, I can't believe you didn't watch horror remakes.
Dude, Rachel and Sam are in the background of Matthew's thing. They're gonna be.
What are you talking about? This is actually my wall. I just made it look like Rachel's. So
it's impressive green screen right there.
I recreated it in my apartment. So.
Okay.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
But,
Oh, you're the host now?
Yeah. Andrew,
Thank you.
Let's start off with Iron Man 1.
Yes, let's start with Iron Man 1. Andrew, do you want to talk first?
No. Sure. It's okay. Iron Man is a difficult one for this is actually the one that's been hardest for me to classify over the years, because this is like my brother was I've seen every Marvel movie in theaters, every MCU movie in theaters with my brother since Iron Man. And this one held a special place in my heart in the fact that it was like the go-to movie on road trips with the family. But also I rewatched it recently and it didn't hold up as well as I was hoping it would. So I would probably put it A or B tier, still good, but not the S that I once thought it was.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about you, Cole?
Yeah, I'm probably around A tier on this one. I kind of disagree. I think it holds up pretty well. Surely not as much as like the universe connectiveness of some of the other movies, but I think what it lacks in that, it has great character. I mean, that's basically the whole movie is on the pedestals of Robert Downey Jr. in this case. And so even when you have a weaker villain and some setup stuff going on in the background, that intro bit is just so fantastic. And then once you start getting into how he makes the suits and going along with that, there's a lot to that, especially. And a finale that's kind of cheesy, but still a lot of fun. So I'd probably put it A tier.
All right. Albert is excited.
Yeah.
For TV shows are included. Matt, what are your thoughts on Iron Man?
Yeah, I agree with both of them. I don't really have a super strong opinion. I think I would probably lean towards A, but I wouldn't be too upset if it ended up in B. I think it's probably somewhere in between them. So, but I think A is probably a solid choice just because it was the first movie and the fact that it holds up so well in many ways still today. I think that's probably why I would end up with A.
And Colin?
I put it solidly in A. I think in the later MCU, one thing I miss is like the sound design for the suit, Iron Man suit. Like, sure, the nanotech is cool, but it just sounds really cool, and I just missed that in later MCU.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not the only reason to like the movie, but I think it holds up pretty well. Nothing crazy bad about it. Sure, maybe the clunky recasting with Terrence Howard coming up later, but you can't really do much about that. Yeah, I still put it in the A tier solidly.
So are we rating these? So I is relation to the universe important to you guys? I gotta know.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
To me, anyway. I don't know. What you guys
Not
think.
as much for me, but it probably impacts what I think about the movie entirely.
Mhm.
But it's still, I think, in terms of just for me, it's going to be ranking in terms of what I think and quality and whatnot. But those elements are a part of it for sure.
More of a standalone guy, but I think if we're including connectivity, you got to give it points for being the original. So I guess I'd just put mine at A.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would also put in A. I have seen this one a lot too, and I think Robert, like at this point, like Robert Downey Jr. is like iconic as Iron Man. So, it's the beginning, and it's done really well. So it seems like everyone agrees. So I'll put in A tier.
Yeah. Shout out to Jon Favreau.
However, is not actually excited. So,
Dang.
Damn.
That's rough.
Happens.
But we can go into the next movie, The Incredible Hulk.
He's interested. Incredible Hulk. F. Movie's boring. It's not that good. I'd be content with D, but if it goes above D, I don't know what we're doing here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the same page.
I don't even have anything to say. I don't even. I look. I've got arguments on this other stuff, so I'm giving up my time here.
All right. Then I'll go. I think it's D. I think as much as we like Mark Ruffalo these days, I don't think Edward Norton did a bad job here. The script didn't help him here, but I think especially the intro stuff in Brazil was actually really interesting, and kind of the dynamic of like controlling the Hulk and making sure that he doesn't go out, and then the government basically coming after him. I think I like that element more than when he was like trying to find Betty Ross and that whole element by the university. And then that finale is just a CGI kind of mess. It's visually like not fun to look at, and it's honestly not even that creative in terms of like a set piece like that. So, but I for the first half of the movie, for that I'd give it a D. I put it in D tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also agree that the first half is definitely better, and then I do like Edward Norton as the Hulk. I just rewatched this today, so
Okay,
it's much better than I remembered. But I also I hadn't seen it since it came out, so yeah, I don't think it's terrible. I would also put it in D, but it's definitely one of the.
Do you have stuff you guys want to put below it? That's my argument. Like we
Yeah,
got to
that's
use
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I definitely have multiple I would put below it.
I do.
Really?
I do too.
I have one or two I might put below.
I
Yeah.
have a solid 3.
3.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But
If
I don't
that's the
mind putting
case,
in F just because it's
yeah.
within the MCU. Like it is definitely one of the worst ones. And so, yeah. What about you, Matt?
Well, I haven't rewatched it in a while. I don't remember it being that bad, just not super memorable. So I really don't care like which one it ends up in. I'm just thinking like I would definitely rather rewatch it than like watch a couple of the others. So I'm thinking maybe D. Although I might, maybe if we end up going back later on, I might end up moving it to F.
I'm comfortable with D for now.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Colin.
I think D is fair for the group right now. I have it ranked last, so it definitely my least favorite. I don't know. It's just it's very clunky in the MCU. It's kind of like the black sheep. But yeah, D is fine. I don't have much ranked below it, if anything. But we can always come back to that later.
We have Aiden in the chat saying he would put in C tier. Yeah,
it's fair. Abomination's cool. I'm glad they're giving him a second chance.
Mm-hmm. I like seeing him in.
I'm excited for She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And then Albert going back to Iron Man and saying that he doesn't think the third act holds up, but
It's fair. Most third acts don't hold up a lot.
Most third acts
Yeah.
you aren't.
Well, I think the third act fight doesn't hold up. I think some of the setup,
yeah.
especially when he's like on the couch and almost dying. I mean, that shit's really cool.
Weirdly enough, I think it's one of the better third acts. Sorry, you go ahead, Cole.
I think emotionally it's cool, but I don't think the actual fight is that interesting. And with just being basically blown up by a sky laser is like, I don't know, kind of lame to me. That's all.
But you got to give it credit for being an originator of the sky beam in the MCU.
Where there weren't sky beams before.
I mean, it's less of a like. It's not like, oh no, we have a beam shooting into the sky, we've got an issue. It's more, that beam is a laser and it just blasted our hero.
Yeah, right.
So I wouldn't say it's a sky beam in the classical sense.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's more like an upward beam, I guess. But they exist. That was a trope before the MCU. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Anyways, but Thor, or not Thor. Sorry, we're not on Thor yet. Incredible Hulk. I say D.
Yeah. Cameron also says it is D. But yeah, I will put this in D, and we can go on to Iron Man 2.
Okay. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, some other people.
Yeah,
I have somewhat come around on this one. Like in terms of it's still kind of boring drivel, but I don't think it's F. Somebody else can start. Am I starting all of these?
No.
Lead the
you
discussion.
just started talking about it. Cole brought it to you, and you talked. You talked about
I
it.
just assumed.
Sam Rockwell is good, and there are a couple funny jokes. So C or D.
Yeah. No, Sam Rockwell is easily the best part of Iron Man 2. Oh.
He's one of the most fun villains in the entire MCU.
Hotels.com,
It's a shame that he's wasted on a movie that does not.
Are we sponsored by them?
That cares more about setup than about anything else.
Okay, should I go on now?
Yeah, let's go to Cole.
Yeah, it's definitely sloppy. I mean, if you know anything behind the production on that, it makes a lot of sense. It was very quickly put together, and I know infamously Jon Favreau. Just hear me out for a second, okay? Infamously, Jon Favreau had a really tough time with it, and so it doesn't necessarily excuse it because some of the skeleton is very similar from other kind of comic book stuff, and also some things that you've seen before in the comics directly. I think some of the highlights are definitely like when he's by himself and trying to like kind of recover in his own way and having to basically invent an element, which is fucking crazy. But yeah, I mean, Vanko is kind of lame, even though he wants his bird. It is. His motivations are just, his dad hurt my dad, so I want to hurt him. Not that great. Even though Mickey Rourke is, he's an interesting casting. It's also one of these things where Whiplash isn't a villain that I feel like has any association that means a lot for the Iron Man character as a whole. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of like the suitcase suit, it's pretty cool, but all the other sequences, even the last sequence, is as fun as it's supposed to be. It's kind of just like, again, a CGI mess. So I would probably put it at C.
All right. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree in C. I actually really enjoy this one. I think the Sam Rockwell monologue alone puts it in C, just because it's so fun to watch. I actually think the third act is, I don't know how people think about it, but I think it's maybe a little underrated. I think it's a lot of fun, at least, and I enjoy even with the recasting with John Cheadle, I enjoyed the kind of banter and kind of how that progresses throughout the movie. So I actually really do enjoy it. I maybe like it a little bit more than some people, but I still think, I think C would be a solid one because it's not, it doesn't have anything that's like super great about it that puts it any higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Don Cheadle as War Machine more than Terrence Howard. So
I like Don Cheadle.
We got Aiden saying that the whiplash on the racetrack is one of the cooler moments.
Cooler moments in the MCU. I mean, within the first 3 movies, it's one of the cooler moments. But in the MCU at large, I don't know about that.
I mean, the flashing, that whole thing was a really cool trailer bit, but I don't really think much about it.
And the suitcase suit, that was kind of cool back then, but
that was
not done.
Yeah, it is cool to see the introduction of Black Widow, though.
See, that's like one of the weaker parts.
Never once cared about Black Widow.
That's the reason why I didn't talk about it all either. I thought it was just like
I liked her fight scene in the hallway. Like that was like when I was a kid, I was like, ah! And then when I rewatched it like a year ago, I was like, oh, okay.
Colin, what are your thoughts?
There's a lot of cool stuff about it. Everything you guys mentioned, like the suitcase suit. I mean, that cool sound design is still there, and I think the stuff with his dad is decent. We get to pay it off a little bit in later films, but I don't know, it just feels too disconnected. And I think like there's a couple movies in the MCU that get bogged down with setting up stuff. But this has got to be one of the worst in that respect. So I think I can see the argument for C tier. I'd probably place it in D tier, but I'm not going to get I think C is entirely fair for sure.
I'm okay with bottom C if we're ranking.
If we're doing ranking of the tiers within the tiers, I think bottom C is good.
Yeah,
but I don't.
I want to see where we get.
Yeah.
I mean, are we gonna when we start placing within the same tiers? Do we discuss where in the tier they go, or do we just add it on? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Then that's good. I think bottom C when we get to that at least.
Yeah, sure, man. I mean, the clothes burning off, I guess.
I'll look into it. But the fact that I can't imagine it, like the fact that I can't bring it back to my mind, seems like maybe hasn't stuck out as much to me over the years.
Yeah, I think Iron Man 2 was also just very unmemorable. So
it's a setup movie. It's an Age of Ultron type thing.
Yeah, I would also put it in C tier, but I think
I'm trying to save my credibility until the first movie of Phase 2. So I'm just trying to sit back.
Oh no!
And
oh man!
All right. Well, we'll go to the next movie, Thor. Let's start with Matt. What are your thoughts on Thor?
F.
Wow. I'm not even put there.
I hate that movie. The design of Asgard, I hate. Just everything about it. Like, I don't care about anything that happens in that movie. Yeah, it just I don't know. I like Natalie Portman. I'm really excited to see her in Love and Thunder. But I prefer her character in The Dark World more than this movie. And yeah, I hate the design of Asgard. I don't like the direction they took with like the really Shakespearean type kind of look of it all. And I just didn't like the direction at all. So I would just put it in F.
All right. Yeah. Let's go to Colin.
I'm not gonna be that harsh on it. I don't think it's very good. On paper, I think the Shakespearean stuff should work, and it just didn't. I mean, so like Kenneth Branagh, when Shakespeare's involved, it's like a fine choice. But I think a lot of the stuff is really uninspired. I'd venture to say it's like the only movie that I currently have ranked below Incredible Hulk. So D is probably where I'd put it.
Yeah, and Aiden saying that
I
agree.
At least in terms of number of them.
What are you guys talking about?
There's a streamer I watch who genuinely does that with their camera, and it really annoys me.
Does it give you a weird feeling in your stomach?
I don't like it. I like this more than Incredible Hulk. Here's the thing: I like style, and it at least tries to have a style that is different than the rest of the movies. So I actually put it a bit higher because of that. I don't think it's great, but it's doing something. Like, it's not just following the code, which hadn't fully been developed yet, and maybe that's why. But you get something like Branagh. You get a lot of great casting comes from this movie that goes on to star in some of the better movies in the MCU, and so I'd give it credit for that. And then does something. So I would still probably go C tier, maybe D, but yeah. I'm not passionate.
No, I would also probably put it in C or D. I'm not like the more I watch this movie, the less I like it. So I feel like every time I rewatch it, I'm just like, this is not as good. And then maybe it'll drop later on another rewatch. But C or D for me. So Cole?
I think I'm going to piggyback off of Andrew here. I think the style, I particularly like the style of Asgard, and I think that's probably some of the better moments is when it is there, and especially like the Jotunheim bit. I think the problem for me is that the fish out of water plot is like, I don't know, it's just really tiring, and it's not even that great in this case. But I think a good point is that it does set up some great stuff going forward. And it's trying, at least, I think. As maybe we get to some of these later where I feel like they're not really trying. I think, man, I think also, God, we got to talk about the dyed eyebrows, which are one of the worst.
That does not look good.
No, it doesn't. And quite frankly, I'm so glad they pulled away from that. But yeah, I really like half of this movie when it's not on Earth. Even Coulson being in there doesn't really help. I'm probably D tier below Incredible Hulk.
Okay, so now where are we putting this? Do we put in D or?
I mean, I think since Matt puts it F, it goes under Incredible Hulk and D, even though you and I would put it in C.
Mm-hmm.
All right, does that make everybody happy? Besides,
happy.
I'm comfortable with it. It's not my opinion, but we're coming to a consensus here.
I mean, I could argue it goes above Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I would put it above it personally, but I'm not gonna fight for this.
Well, I don't care that much about it, so you guys can do whatever you want.
That is above, and if we're considering Incredible Hulk at F, and only one person considered Thor at F, maybe it goes above.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna. That's the last word about Thor that I have.
All right, I'd say we leave it there for now, and maybe we could talk it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that works. Well, let's go into the next one then. Captain America, the first Avenger.
I'm a proponent of this film.
All right. Well, I think everybody came around in this film in the last couple of years. I had rewatched it within the last couple of months. It's decent. Chris Evans, great casting. We're going to do much better than that for Captain America, I don't think. He and Peggy have a good dynamic. It was like the first period piece we had until really, I don't know, maybe Captain Marvel. I don't know if that's accurate, but it was a cool period piece. I don't know. It feels middle of the pack though. Like we've had a lot of better stuff come out since then, but it's also, I think it's one of the better Phase 1 movies. I'd place it pretty solidly in B.
Rachel in the live chat saying it's good.
True.
I love the first Avenger. I think it's the best one in Phase 1. It's the first MCU movie I watched in theaters. Actually, it's actually the first one I watched, and just like in general.
Fake fan. We were all thinking it. I thought I'd step out and say it. Nobody has the credentials that I do.
Really? I went to every single one in theaters.
Call it. I'm trying to establish credibility so that when I make some crazy takes, he'll be respected.
I shouldn't talk about these movies anymore.
No. Hey, you're welcome here. I'm just
JD is in the chat saying that their first Avenger and Ultron are underrated.
I agree with half of that statement.
Yeah, I think I don't think the first Avenger is underrated anymore. I think a lot of people come around.
I still see a lot of people shitting on it, so I don't know where I place it. I don't know where
maybe it's just in this club because everybody I talk to seems to agree that it's.
I don't know where I'd place it on under versus overrated, but I think I'd place it on good movie over bad movie for sure.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I think Peggy Carter is a great character. Like,
Yeah.
I think she's like a powerful woman in the war. Like, I think she, brings a lot to the movie and like her relationship with Steve.
I would personally put it A or B, but I'm comfortable with B.
Yeah,
I think
I would put it in
a
A,
great-
but
I think it stands alone as a good movie that you don't need any other context for, and it's like a fun movie on its own. If this was a world in which the MCU hadn't happened, we would just have a cool comic book Captain America movie, and I'm comfortable with that. So yeah, high B.
a lot of people in the chat right now.
Jeez.
What?
He called it an underrated gem, and then immediately was like, "It might be D tier though."
All right, should I go? Or yeah, I'll go. Fuck it. I think this is C tier for me. It might be high C tier for me, but it's one of those things where every time I come back to it, I feel like the hype never gets to me, especially in retrospect. Shout out to Stanley Tucci though, for actually a pretty good part, even though he's not in it very long. I think the fact we haven't talked about Tommy Lee Jones just shows that he doesn't matter in the context of this movie. And Chris Evans, great casting. Can't agree more. I think like especially his development there it's pretty straightforward. That's my thing. It's like it's still much mid for me because it follows a pretty straightforward formula. It's doing what it wants to do, but not necessarily kind of going too crazy. Even the ending is like with a cosmic cube, or I guess Tesseract, whatever. Whatever. That's all the same thing. It's just kind of whatever. It was just a MacGuffin that they were chasing, and then there wasn't much that came of it until Infinity War, basically. But yeah, I'd probably put it C tier. It's very average for me.
Yes, Tucci was great in the movie.
Yes.
I misspoke. Apparently, I meant to say that JD said it was underrated. That was just a mistake. He said it was underrated, and then he put it at D tier. Yeah, I think if you have an issue with MacGuffins, some of these movies are going to go down.
There's a few MacGuffins here.
I think superhero movies are the best place to have MacGuffins.
Yeah. I just feel like the MacGuffin isn't used very well. That's all. Other than to basically give a light on the weapons that the soldiers use, and then like, I don't know, at the very end, I guess. Basically it.
I'm down for that. I'm not a big Loki hype train guy, so
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. So where are we putting this?
Well,
Matt
has to go.
Oh, please, sorry, Matthew. I feel like we've been on this forever.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I'm not sure between A and B. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones really great in that. I think you discount his part a little bit, Cole. I think he's a little more important. And
I think the fact that nobody mentioned him is my point.
I'm not
Well,
rating Tommy Lee Jones' performances. I don't care about that, man.
Yeah, he's not a highlight or anything. Yeah, I think he's
in
good in
this
the
context,
film.
it's not important.
Yeah.
He has a funny joke.
But like,
That's
he's such
good.
a big name actor, and they have him in this movie, and like, I feel like nobody talks about him. Like, he should have, and his character is a pretty pivotal part of the journey for Steve Rogers. It just doesn't get the light. I don't know. I don't think
food
it
and drives a
deserved
car. It's pretty
does.
integral to the plot there.
Yeah, but Peggy could like you could have filled anybody in that slot, and it wouldn't have mattered. That's my point.
I think it's fun though. But I think
It's the ultimate. That's like the best response.
I think it's fun. Immediately shoots to S tier.
Yeah.
I think it gets underrated in the sense that it really helped to build like the whole like not a perfect soldier but a good man, that whole kind of idea. I think you really needed that going into the second phase and into the Avengers, how kind of making the Steve kind of that character and really propelling that forward. So I really like the themes coming out of that movie, and I think it it's really solid. So I would put it in high B, possibly with Iron Man, just because of yeah, that reason though. So I don't know. I'm not super on one side either way.
All right. Well, it does sound like more like it's averages out to a B tier, but
If you even taking in the words of the haters, I think that goes B.
yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna be a hater like the rest of this video, so I gotta get my digs in now.
It's fine. Honestly, this is not one I'd die on the hill.
Yeah, I
for.
don't think
Like,
that's the hill to
it's
die
like,
on.
Also, I'll say though, terrible end credits because it's just a promo for the Avengers.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
don't give a shit about end credits.
It was pretty hype. Oh yeah, if we're ranking these by end credits, we got to do some reshuffling.
I don't think that's the merit, but it's a part of the movie, and it sometimes can be really
It's
fun.
almost literally not in some cases.
I mean,
like
it's
the
like-
Ant-Man end credits are literally just not a part of Ant-Man. Really.
I disagree.
The
Really?
Civil War end credits. I mean, I guess he's in Civil War, but
Yeah, but he's not even in that scene.
he's not in that scene.
Yeah, but like, we'll get to that when we get to Ant-Man, I
we'll
guess.
We'll get to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to get through
We're
Avengers.
30 minutes in and we haven't finished phase 1. So
All right. Well, let's go into the Avengers.
Can I start?
Cole can start. Yeah, your favorite.
Yeah, S tier. I want it top all the way. I think it structurally it's one of the best ones here. It has a lot to juggle, but doesn't have too much to juggle like some of the later Avengers movies. And so I think everyone has their time to shine. And the Battle of New York is a lot of fun, even though it's another laser beam in the sky kind of thing, like we talked about with Iron Man.
you're the one that brought that up.
I know. But it has a purpose. Yeah. I mean, I've seen this one like a billion times, so this might just be a bias here. But it's definitely my favorite, and I think this is the movie where it really fleshes out Loki as a good character. I think Thor kind of set it up, but by this point, when he goes into true villain mode, that's when he really shines here, and it's part of the reason why people like Loki as a character. And I guess my knack would be that like you spend half of the movie having Hawkeye kind of be controlled, so you don't get that. But then again, Hawkeye is not that great of a character anyways. So, anyways. S tier.
I'll just get myself out of the way. There's an argument to be made for A tier, but I'm not here to make it. I agree.
I would say A tier because I think it's really good, but I think there's too much Joss Whedon involved in it, and I don't like it on rewatch as much as I used to. So I would put it in like low A.
I hope all of us like Joss Whedon a bit less than we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was easy to like him in 2012. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm still a Firefly diehard, man. I just don't know if I'd want to hang out with him.
I have it high A, but you guys are so passionate about it. I'm putting it up to S. So sure.
Yeah.
I think it looks a little bit like a TV show, but other than that, I mean, you guys are pretty much correct about it. So
Can you elaborate on that? Honestly,
I don't like the color. I don't like the color grading, if that makes sense. I mean,
MCU.
yeah. That doesn't really bug. That's not really like a huge issue for me, though.
There's one thing that I really, really like about it is it has to do with the color grading, which is that it feels like it's got a comic book look, and a lot of the MCU abandons that, and I really like that about it.
Fair enough.
Sure, ridiculous but fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, not that big of a deal. I'm pushing it to S for you guys.
Yeah, no. Personally, I would put in A, but I am okay with pushing it to an S. So
I want to make a case for A.
I'd put it A, and then we do put it S anyway.
Because there's going to be, I think there's like 100% more movies that are going to get an S. So I think.
And they shouldn't.
Definitely better.
Let me get there.
Let me be
I think
clear.
we'll end up
This is
moving
my
Avengers
1S.
down.
We got an S coming up right now, boys.
Good God, you guys just get out of phase one.
God.
We're done. We're done.
We're done.
We're
Phase
done.
2, baby. Phase 2.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I only have 3 in the S tier, so well, maybe not. Yeah, 3.
Well, let's move on to Iron Man 3.
S tier. S tier.
I'm starting with Andrew.
S tier. Somebody else can start.
Let's start with.
started.
You started.
by
You started.
saying
You
S
started
tier.
I'll
everything.
give S tier, and then you guys can give your arguments, and then I'll give my argument.
No,
No, because I'm gonna have to debunk the
Ma-
dumb stuff that you say.
No, but that's why you need to make your case. Before.
Great. Okay. It's a twist villain, and the marketing tricked me, and I'm mad about it. Is not an argument for it being a worse movie. Let's start with that. Okay. Next, it's like the only movie until Ragnarok. From here till Ragnarok, it's the last movie that has any sort of style from the director. You can actually see Shane Black's comedy. You can actually see the way that he goes about dealing with the characters. It actually addresses interesting facets of Iron Man's personality, which doesn't happen for the rest of the MCU. He just becomes like this hero complex. You see it a bit in Civil War, but this is something that actually focuses on him. You get an actual great, like, funny bit. I get that, like, I don't think Aldrich Killian is a great villain, but I think the rest of the movie is so good. You get Don Cheadle's best performance. You get the little thing where he's like, they're heating him up, and he's like, okay. And he goes, I guess it's go time. And he jumps out and he socks the dude. It's so sick, dude. Oh my God. And then, like I said, the actual Iron Man development at the end of the movie, it gets scrapped because the MCU can't have Iron Man not being in the suit. But it's like a great moment at the time. It actually gets you involved in the movie. People were talking. It was a good time. It's a good movie. It's the funniest MCU movie as well, besides maybe Thor Ragnarok.
I agree with everything he said, but I would put it in B.
Not even A?
So, yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
We got a lot of people in the chat, so
I'm passionate about this.
I don't. God, I can't go. Somebody go.
Wow. All right.
all right, Colin.
Well, I mean, it's a good movie. I'd place it high B, maybe low A. I don't care about the twist villain. I think it was like fine. I was like, whoa, in theaters, but I don't know. It just doesn't do a whole lot for me. It's better than a lot of the other crap that we have coming. So I'll give it. You know what? I'll go for A. I'll go for A.
I also think it's definitely overhated. I think I don't think like the Mandarin twist is like all that bad or anything like that. Like I think it's a great like story arc for Iron Man from like the 3 movies, and like I think it portrays his like PTSD and anxiety well, like, and seeing him grow like that. So yeah, I don't mind putting in A.
Cool.
Am I the last one? Oh no. Yeah, it's like C for me.
It's because you have bad taste, but that's fine.
I don't think I do.
I didn't mean that.
I no, it's okay. It's okay. I know where it came from. I just think I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, Andrew. Like I think your point about it being like the last movie with a lot of style isn't necessarily fair, but it definitely has a distinct style that doesn't like build off of anything else.
No, I
before it.
looked. Yeah, Guardians comes after this before Ragnarok, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's it's
yeah, but I think I don't necessarily have a problem with the twist villain because in the case of the way the Mandarin was set up in that movie, I didn't kind of want to see him like do his thing if he was going to. I just wish Guy Pearce was a better villain in this case. And I think even like the side characters like Rebecca Hall just doesn't really add much. I like her getting her moment at the very end there. That's kind of nice. And the PTSD elements are a highlight. I don't like all the little kid stuff. I just don't. It's not for me. Even though it's like a way to clear his space, like to kind of reset him and start anew. But I just don't think it works. But that's all right. We're gonna disagree. But yeah, I'd probably put it maybe high C. But yeah, I don't think I would go above personally. I think I'm gonna be outranked here, so it doesn't really matter.
So yeah, how are we balancing this one now?
So we've got an S, a C, an A. Colin said A.
I did say low A. I said low A.
She said A though, so he said A. Matthew, what was yours?
I said A. Yeah, I would go A.
Okay, I mean that means A, right? Because Matthew was B.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah.
S,
2 S,
A,
an
A,
S,
B,
and
C.
two A's. Yeah, I think that either a high B or low A.
All right.
Make a case for high B, please. I really can't.
I knew it wasn't gonna be S. I just wanted it in A. I think it's S. I wasn't lying about that.
We can come back to that later. We gotta keep.
Yeah. We can,
Let's not talk about it again. Let's just leave it there and then...
well, we'll talk about it.
We want to talk. I want to
We'll talk about it. Well, we should move on to the next movie and get some context for it.
people,
Okay.
I just like there are some people who like talked about Avengers after we moved on to Iron Man 3. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
just wanted to bring this up. Steven actually has MCU S tier. Whoa.
That seems
That is
weird.
kind of crazy.
Once again, all
That's
S tiers are
kind of
relative.
bizarre.
I don't know if those are 10 out of 10s for him, but
Yeah, no, exactly. I
All right.
doubt it, but
Was the Dark World next?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, you're number one Dark World fan. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I am. I don't think this movie is as bad as Thor and the Incredible Hulk. That's all I've got going for it. I think
I agree.
you've got the Loki and Thor dynamic already established. That works really well. Obviously, the villain sucks. I think the Frigga funeral scene is better than most of the stuff in Thor. What else? I just think Asgard is like a little bit better looking this time around. I think a lot of this film is pretty good looking. Stuff on Earth still not great. Natalie Portman's whatever, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a case for this film to be in the C tier, so that's where I'm going to go with it. So yeah.
I haven't seen this in a little bit. It's still an F for me. That's gonna be an F for me, dog, and I don't have a lot else to say about it. I think the worst things a movie can be are boring and forgettable, and I think this fulfills both of those requirements.
True, yeah.
I guess actively malicious is probably a third thing, but the MCU is so like clean that's never gonna happen anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would say that the best part about this is Thor and Loki's relationship. Like, I think they have just like that chemistry and banter that they have with each other, and like I think it works really well. But the rest of the movie is just like set up, like with the ether and like the villains unmemorable. Like who remembers who Malekith is? And
But he's memorable for being so unmemorable. Like I remember him more than some of the other people. That's the problem.
Oh my
It's
God.
such a fun argument.
Yes, and the only reason this is important because of in Endgame when they go back to Thor: The Dark World. That's
Yes, Thor: The Dark World redemption is what Endgame needed, and I'm glad they did it.
Would you call that redemption?
Yes, it was definitely redemption. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it more than the first Thor, so I don't really care where it ends up, just as long as it's over the first Thor.
First Thor was doing something though.
I agree with Andrew. It's F tier for me.
Oh man.
I think it is the worst of the MCU. I think even outside of the villain, right? Like, let's take that out of the equation, even though that's like part of the big thing. For me, it was just kind of disappointing. Like I kind of mentioned with the first Thor, I want to see more of Asgard, and then when I saw more of Asgard, I didn't give a shit. And I think, yeah, I guess the Loki and Thor relationship is better, but I don't think Thor is a great character in this movie. And the fact that Jane and the rest of the crew are still around is just like a nuisance. So yeah, F tier.
Yeah, just gonna bring in some comments about Dark World.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I think we're
Can we make
numbered
it F
here.
minus? Can we make it F minus, please?
Well, then we won't have
Well,
anything.
but it seems it's averaging out to bottom of the D tier, unfortunately.
Then
But,
we're not going to use F. Why did we add it?
No,
Really? You don't think there's
no,
anything worse than this?
Because within the MCU, this is an F. Yeah.
No, I mean, there are two movies that just are both right there for me. So maybe I don't know.
How many F tiers do we have for this? I said how many people gave this an F tier?
I did.
Right here.
Okay,
Matthew,
so
what was yours?
I was F.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's 3
yeah,
Fs
yeah.
above Thor, but fine with wherever in a C. So
I think that does go to F. I think with 3 Fs and like Matt just doesn't care.
yeah.
Yeah, Matt is not going to try and defend it, so I'm the only one. I don't even think it's that good. Obviously, I put in the C, so I'm not angry about F.
Yeah.
I had to defend my my title that I came.
It's a boring
with,
take
so.
that it's F tier, but it's ours, I guess. So
No, I'm not angry. I'm not that mad.
Well, let's go into the next movie, The Winter Soldier. Let's start with Cole.
Oh no, no, I like it. My thing about it is that I think my litmus test for it was going back to it a second and a third time, because one of the biggest things of that movie was the Hydra reveal, and I feel like that in the theater made it such a great experience that like that finale just hit differently. But going back to it, I think it hits just as much. I think that everyone is playing their parts pretty well. Their established characters have been pretty much set up, and the mystery element of what's going on plays a big part of the reason why I think it's unique in the MCU. Even if the Winter Soldier is kind of just cannon fodder until the end, once he finds out, or I guess it's like middle when he finds out it's Bucky, and then there's a whole bit there. Robert Redford, pretty good in this. I think he's actually pretty decent. Unlike Tommy Lee Jones, I think he has a role. He serves a role, and is an antagonist to Captain America, but not necessarily a physical antagonist. So yeah, I put it at A tier, top A though, not quite S. I think the weird chemistry bit between Steve and Nat there is just kind of awkward, and it doesn't hold up. Even though it's the better of what she's had to deal with. I mean, even though we'll get to Age of Ultron, I suppose. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it there because I know we're taking forever. So I'm gonna put it at top A.
Yeah, I can do a quick. I think it's some of the most fun action in the MCU. It actually has some intrigue. It's the one movie where I actually think Black Widow's kind of cool. And I'd say low S, high A. It definitely faded for me on my most recent watch a little bit, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't need to talk too much here. I thought this one was going to be fairly easily placed high, but I guess I don't know your opinions.
I mean, I'm just waiting for Matt to go. I have a lot to say about this, but I'll keep it short.
Everybody was just sitting there. So.
Okay. I guess there was no order that time, but
I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm sure it's not much of a surprise to anyone that all 4 Russo brother movies will be S tier for me. So I'll just put that out of the way. One thing about this one was I do remember seeing in the theater. It was like really well, like just how it all played out in the theater. It's one of one of the main theater experiences I really remember really well, watching it with all the thrilling elements and kind of surprises. So that's a reason why I would definitely put it in S tier.
I'm also S tier. I think the first 2 Captain America movies, like in that theoretical situation where we don't end up with an MCU, I think they could stand on their own pretty easily. I don't know. I think this is where the Russos are most competent in their action. Like Civil War I feel like Civil War was a downgrade for them after this film, in terms of how they shot action. That's one of the reasons I have it ranked lower than this one. And this is the only MCU movie my dad likes. I dragged him to every single one of these, and this is the only one he likes. And for that, it's gotta be S tier.
Yeah, you're pitching it as a dad movie.
It's because of Robert Redford. I'm telling you.
No. Okay. When you put it like that, yeah, it's like sure, dad movie. But honestly, I think it speaks to people who aren't a big fan of comic book movies a little more than some of these other ones. And
yeah.
To me, that was really cool because when my dad always talked about how much he hated them on the ride home from all these movies, and then this one he came back with a positive review, and I was like, yes,
Mhm.
And then a couple years after that, I could drive myself, so it didn't matter. So I have fond memories of this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite MCU movie. So, yeah, Steve Rogers, Captain America is my favorite character in the MCU. So, like, I just like feel like, going from the first movie to the second one, like, it was a really big like upgrade, and it does have some of the best action in the MCU as well, as we already talked about. This is the best that Black Widow has ever been, and will ever be, I guess. And I just really like the political like spy thriller aspect that they added to to this movie. I think it works with like the corruption and like trust and stuff with like his whole character. So I would put it in S.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I think that ends up in
I
S.
think
then,
that's
right?
low S then.
Yeah.
I mean, most people had S to A, so I'd say low S.
yeah, I would say it's below Avengers personally.
I think that's a fair argument. We'll talk about that later.
Great. Yeah, I'm ready to just clap.
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
some
We
movies.
get to move
Although
on.
up next is my number one in the MCU. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you want to talk about it first, or should we go to someone else?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. All right.
Once again, I really favor the MCU actually letting people. Oh, this is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians.
Yeah, I actually it's okay. Music's huge for me. I really like when a movie has fun music that really like goes with the scenes. That actually just like raises a lot of movies up, in my opinion, that otherwise might not stand as good a chance. It takes characters that were previously thought to be unmarketable and not that interesting and turn them into superstars in a way that's actually kind of genuine. Like, it doesn't seem as fake as some of these do. Yeah, it's just fun, and it's one of the best movies to just throw on when you have some friends over and they're like, let's like put something on, and you're just like hanging out and talking and having fun. It's a fun watch, whether you're paying attention or whether you're just jamming along in the background. They got Bradley Cooper to voice a raccoon, a gangster raccoon.
okay, I can go.
I feel less passionate about this. It's just my number one.
No, that's kind of how I feel like I had to do that. I had to justify with Avengers, but it's still this is really great. I'm gonna piggyback off you, Andrew. I think the soundtrack is one of the best parts of the movie, hence why it's like sold so fucking much. And I think, like you said, setting up these characters who were basically nobodies into somebodies, and making them really likable and have unique traits. Groot is great. I'm kind of sad that this is like the only time we've seen a big Groot. I kind of wish we were able to work with that more. Hopefully Guardians 3 will get there. But yeah, I'm just gonna say I love it. I'm gonna put it A tier. I think the villain is kind of forgettable, even though they're also chasing after MacGuffin. But at the same time, he just doesn't have much to him other than being like a crazy dude who's a Kree guy who doesn't want to follow the Kree rule, and then
Religious fundamentalist is always a dope villain in my opinion.
I just think it's not. But they don't flesh it out that much. I think that's my part of it.
Yeah,
there's the one scene where he does like smash the head,
runs down.
The blood.
It's
That's it.
nasty,
But that's
bro.
it.
It's so sick.
But that's it though. I need more than that. So it'd be top A though for me.
Top S for me. Sorry, I never said that.
You're good.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I'm with Andrew. I think it's better than Avengers. I really love this movie. I think it like the music is great. I think the direction is great. I love Glenn. I bring up one actor every time. Glenn Close is the best part of the movie. Better than Tommy Lee Jones, but
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I can stand by that.
I just really enjoy it. I would definitely put it in the S tier on top of Avengers.
John C.
tier.
Reilly and Peter Serafinowicz as well. Peter Serafinowicz actually has a really
John
cool.
C. Reilly too.
John C. Reilly is great in that. I kind of forget about him.
John
but
C.
he's really
O'Reilly.
good.
Colin, sorry, I cut you off a little bit. You
I said S tier. We're good to go. You guys already mentioned other reasons I like this movie. Let's
Yeah.
get a move on.
Yeah, true. You guys have said everything. I'm just gonna bring up some people in the chat with their.
Okay. So yeah, I'm like,
Fair.
yeah, I'm more with the crowd on this. I think it's really good. I think it just has some weak elements that prevent it from being.
Rachel's
totally
got base takes mostly besides a few.
Avengers.
Most forgettable villain in the MCU. Yeah, I guess now that Malekith is the.
So
most forgettable in the MCU is nuts.
I don't remember where we are putting this.
I mean,
I would rank it low S tier. I still like Avengers and.
I like it
Soldier,
as I like it more than Avengers, but you know.
do you like it more than Winter Soldier? Wait, if you like it, if we have 3 above Avengers.
See, this is where I'm like, this is why I think it needs.
I don't
to
understand the ranking.
We can
So
fix
Colin's
it.
saying
fix it
A
in
to
post.
throw this one.
No, I guess like it's different because like Cole likes the Avengers more, and then I like Winter Soldier more, and then I like Guardians more than Avengers as well. But
Oh man.
All right, should we just do a vote on this one? I don't know.
Okay, above Winter Soldier, raise your hands.
For Guardians?
Yeah. Above Avengers, raise your hands.
Well, that that doesn't make sense.
That's 4 though. What?
No!
If 4 people think it's above Avengers,
Does that mean Winter Soldier just became the top?
if 4
Yes,
people
well,
think
how many
it's
people
above
think Winter
Avengers,
Soldier
why
is
would
above
Avengers
I think it
be
should be
top?
Winter Soldier, Guardians, Avengers, based on the vote.
is the Winter Soldier above
Actually,
the,
let's keep going and then see if we
I
have
agree.
anything else to contend with instead of voting on something and then
I'm
having
pretty
it
sure
moved
it's Winter
around
Soldier.
later.
I would
Aven-
compromise by
Guardians,
putting it between
Avengers.
Avengers.
we can
and Winter
rearrange
Soldier.
them at the end.
Wow,
We'll
would you
rearrange them at
compromise on
the
that,
end.
Cole? After 4 people voted that it should be above Avengers?
We'll rearrange them.
What a kind compromise! Leave yours at the top while everybody else doesn't get it.
Okay, you know what? We'll get to these later. I
Yeah,
guarantee
sure.
you.
Let's give it.
You'll
Oh my
compromise with me.
god.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
gonna be-
rearrange at the end. Let's go on to the next.
Yeah.
movie.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'll just Age of Ultron. That's a simple D to C for me. I won't say anything else. We'll go fast.
I'll keep it simple. I think it's C2. I think Ultron is fun until he's not, and I think everyone is doing like their own side quests, and it's just not that interesting, even by the finale, which is kind of cool. But probably some of the worst character development too. And yeah, I think Thor's MacGuffin quest in the middle of the movie is probably what makes it C. I'm gonna say bottom C right now.
I'd say high D, I guess, is my stance.
Okay.
I like it. I think Ultron is fun throughout the entire movie. I would put it in B, low B. I like it might be. I like the introduction of all the new characters. Ultron I didn't mind. I don't. The only thing I don't like is the team up shot in the beginning. How fast that kind of comes and concludes. But other than that, I wish they would have saved that for the end. But other than that, that would be my only complaint.
As a kid who previously had liked every single movie before that, this was the first one I was super disappointed with. I remember being super hyped for it, and then I was just like, when I came out of the theater. And like all the reasons you guys mentioned, Ultron's not an amazing villain. He was pretty hyped up in the trailers, and then he just fell completely flat. So I'm going to go high D for this one.
I rewatched this last year, so I think this is one of the more underrated movies in the MCU. It's I would put it in B tier. Let's just start off with that. But it does have like weak moments, like the whole Hulk and Black Widow dynamic, and then Ultron is definitely a weaker villain because like I did watch stuff like with Ultron in it, and then I guess I just like didn't like how they. But John says Ultron is a cool villain. I think James Spader.
He says it's a cool villain, though, I guess, which is different than saying it's a cool villain.
Yeah. But
I also
James
watched it in the
Spader
past
voice.
year, if that's a credit. That's not. I didn't mention that. But
I watched
like it
a fourth
averages
of
out
it
to
on
C.
FX. So.
I watched a bunch of these prepping for the original Marvel matches. So yeah, I'm sticking with D. It seems like it's 2 Bs, a
It's-
C, and 2 Ds. So that just puts it in C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Move
so.
past it then. I'd put it under Iron Man 2.
I would put it above Iron Man 2, but
I'd put it above.
You
I-
did.
No. Never mind.
I'd put it above.
yeah.
Matt, where would you put it? Above or below?
I think above, but I still think we
Okay.
should go back and
Easy
change
clap.
the S order right now.
Ant-Man.
But that's fine.
I agree.
We
I
can
agree.
do that
Cole
at
is
the end,
clearly
but-
benefiting from the.
Yeah.
Let's just move it along here. But
No. If you really if I'm outvoted there, put it at the top because
I think there's a clear ranking of
I
Winter
think it-
Soldier,
I think
Guardians,
it goes-
Avengers.
yeah, I
based
think
on the
that's-
rating.
it's not my ranking, but I think that's how it goes. If this is set up.
I'm fine with that. I think we're gonna come back to it anyways. But I'm fine if
Yes.
we want to put it there for
We are
now.
gonna go back to it. Yeah.
So
Before we lose Matt, because Matt's for sure not making it through all of this. If this is our
Yeah,
case.
do you work at 5, Matt?
I gotta leave in an hour.
Oh, okay.
We might.
If-
Well,
if- no.
you might. Yeah, we might. We
Yeah,
might be
let's
okay.
go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Be able to hit it.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's next.
okay, can I start?
Yeah.
Yes.
we'll
I
take it.
feel passionately about Ant-Man.
I like this movie. I think my part about it is that I love it on rewatches. It's one of those ones that I keep coming back to. Sure, Darren Cross is a lame villain. Sure, like some of the heist bits, like kind of whatever. I think the tank thing is stupid but funny. I think Paul Rudd is the thing that really makes it. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I could defend it by adding every character on that list for me, other than maybe like Hope, I guess. But I will say top A for me.
Whoa.
All right,
I
Matt.
think it's a good movie. I really enjoy it. I'm not sure really where to put it. I'm leaning towards C just because it's not one that I like really want to like continue rewatching. Although I probably would enjoy it if I did, but it just doesn't do a whole lot for me. So I would probably say C, but I could see it being in like B maybe.
I'm kind of low B, high C on this one. I think the shrinking stuff is fun, but I think at the same time there's also a lot more you could do with it. And I think Peyton Reed's direction is really uninspired. Like this feels like he has no voice, and I know there's some that like come across as cookie cutter too.
Marvel, baby.
Yeah, like even then there's like a couple moments where like I can sort of see what the director's trying to do their own thing, but like this and Ant-Man and the Wasp just like feels so bland. But like Paul Rudd carries this movie on his back, so that's what's keeping me from like putting it really low. I think I'm gonna have to go high C.
Thank you, Rachel.
I agree with that. High C, low B for me. I actually am like Cole, where I was like, originally I was like, whatever, that movie's fine. It's just one of the ones that holds up as fun on rewatches. So I'd say low B for me.
Yeah. No, I think this is a super fun movie. I think the Edgar Wright bits are, definitely the best parts.
If Edgar Wright directed it would be S. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I really like Luis. Like, I think his comedy, I think it works really well in this one. And then also, Abby Ryder Fortson is like, and her relationship with Paul Rudd. Cassie is like one of the best parts.
The only
of the
good,
movie.
yeah, it's good kid acting.
Yeah.
So
I actually care.
I
about
would
the
put it
kid
in
acting,
B.
not always true.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, low B. Yeah, I forgot. I don't know why I forgot about a character, but it's a
fine
good
with-
dynamic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be fine with low B, I
I
guess.
think low B's good.
Okay. Let's do that.
Good job,
And then-
guys. That was quick.
Yeah.
We made it through phase 2, and
Now comes my big.
B for
my
Baskin
next-
Robbins.
My
Yeah.
next big hot take is coming.
I just wanted to go back to John
Oh, yeah.
about Age of Ultron.
Yeah. It looks like most of the crowd is in agreement with us around B ish. Some
Paul Rudd is good.
maybe more leaning towards C, like Aiden and John, but
But yeah, let's go into the next movie.
I don't even
Oh,
wanna-
Steven's getting ready to type several paragraphs, I'm sure.
Steven, let me just say, brother, I'm on your side here, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull through for us, but I'm gonna do my best.
All right. Well, let's start with Colin.
Yeah, like I said, I was kind of okay. I liked this movie coming out of the theater. It's a hype. It's basically an Avengers movie, obviously. I guess I can't fault the movie too much for it, but I really wish like they had just done an actual Captain America movie for the third one.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy the first Avenger, and then I love the Winter Soldier. So I really just wanted like a cohesive Cap trilogy, and this does not feel like a conclusion to a cohesive Cap trilogy. The final like 30 minutes do, but I would have liked their original idea for the Serpent Society. I wish you could have seen that. Like I said, the action is a bit of a downgrade. I feel like the Russos somehow got worse after Winter Soldier. The airport scene is cool, but I feel like it's again kind of a bland place to fight. You could have picked somewhere a lot cooler. Steve Bucky dynamic, great. Iron Man's used pretty effectively in this film as well. And Spider-Man's cool. I mean, I don't think he really is. He's a little out of place here, but he's cool. I'll give it a high B. I think a high B is a good spot for me.
I'll go next.
Okay.
C for me. Actually, Colin touched on a lot of stuff that I agree with. I just think a bit more negatively of those things, I guess. It is a movie built around 2 scenes, and one of those 2 scenes doesn't even really work for me, which would be the airport scene and then the final battle. The final battle just like, it's like, I know you get emotional about parent stuff, but it's like it just feels like a downgrade of Tony's character to suddenly be like, oh, the dude who was mind controlled his whole life, I guess I'll just kill him. Like, that's what this whole movie has been built around. And you came to accept, like, okay, I get it, he's done. And then as soon as some other evidence is revealed, after you agree about it, you're just like, nah, let's do the fight so we can do the shot with the shield. It's just a lot of that. It's also, like where Iron Man 3, I think, is cool because of how it like actually tried to do something with the character and then abandoned it. This is clearly something that was made to have a conflict between the characters with a full plan, even by the end of the movie, to just bring them right back together without much of a big deal. Infinity War, they start apart, and that's why it's actually good. But I don't think that like really holds up that well. But it was a cool Dean Pelton cameo.
Yes.
It also has Danny Pudi.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the first
Winter Soldier.
That's Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Winter Soldier. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, it didn't need to be said. We all went asked. Rachel's got a proper ranking here if you'd like to bring it up.
I tend to agree a little bit. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Matt, you want to go or should I go?
Well,
Um,
yeah.
I'll go, I guess. Yeah, so I really enjoy this movie. I think the writing is really underappreciated. Like the Marcus and McFeely, I think this is their best work. Personally, I think the humor, like all the humor in this movie, landed for me possibly more than Infinity War. I love the introduction of Black Panther. I think it was stronger than his actual movie, and the design they came up with for the Black Panther suit. I still like it more than his movie as well. The Spider-Man, I wish they had kept the set suit that they were using and not just replaced it, because it doesn't look quite as good against the like really white bland airport color grading. But otherwise, I mean, I definitely S tier for me just because it does feel like an Avengers movie. I don't really care. It's a lot of fun.
Captain America could have been the best superhero trilogy of all time if it weren't for this. It could have beaten the Dark Knight trilogy if it weren't for this being an Avengers movie.
I remember watching this in theaters and like thinking it was the best one, but I rewatched it this year and it's definitely not. But still, I do really think the movie is really good. I'm just gonna bring this up again. The action is good. I don't think it's the best action in the MCU, but it's not like bad. I feel like
let's not only bring up a positive comment. Let's see some of these other ones. Andrew,
I think it's very appropriate that this is the one we're most split on, though. Come on, this is just fun.
Oh yeah.
But I think Daniel Bruhl is great as Baron Zemo. Like I really like his character, and I think he's definitely one of the better villains of the MCU.
It's an insane plan that just works for him.
I
It's like a ridiculous plan.
a lot of
His character
conveniences
doesn't
to make this plan
sense.
work.
But yeah, you got.
Oh, wait, where do you
Also,
have
I'll
this?
say I
I
do
would
think
put it in
the
S tier,
writing is pretty
but
compelling. Like
still,
with the
Matthew, you
theme.
put it in S?
I'd still put it in S. Yeah.
I knew Matt was gonna put him in S tier, but no.
Yeah, not surprising. Matthew.
All right.
I'm
Like
I'm
I
at
still love the
C.
movie, but
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
like
I think I don't know where that gets put then.
Wait, where'd you say, Cole?
Um,
Genuinely didn't hear you.
shit.
He's about to say S, bro.
No, God, no. I'm more in line with you, Andrew. But I'd still put it at bottom B. This is a great example of one where I felt like Age of Ultron disappointed me, but this one, when I came out of it, I just didn't feel much of anything. And I think that's the biggest part, is that the arc of their characters, facing off each other doesn't really mean shit when they really kind of do just come together in the end, even though their circumstances, like, I don't know, I guess put one half in jail or whatever. I don't think Zemo is great. I think there's a lot of conveniences that make it work, his plot work, and I think that it's a cool. I think it's a really cool concept to have a villain who is not necessarily working on a physical presence, but more on the behind the scenes meddling with these characters. The truth of the matter is that I think they're both right. I think this would have led, if this idea had been scrapped for Civil War. I think the problem is Civil War is such a popular comic story that it was going to happen either way, and they didn't want to get in the way of their whole Avengers kind of timeline. So they shoved it here, even though these characters had not been developed enough to that point. And so it feels rushed. It feels like we're doing things to get to cool action sequences to introduce new characters, but that necessarily doesn't feel like it makes sense in terms of where we were previously in the story. That being said, although I'll say though, I'll counter with that though. I think the Black Panther introduction is really great. I like how he's partly central to the plot here. And Spider-Man's fun, even though he's kind of a little out of place. I kind of agree with Colin on that. But and I'll say I like his costume. I don't care. I like it.
It's a decent costume. Yeah.
Low B for me.
That's 2 low B's, a C, and 2 S's.
I have it as
That
IB.
is a
Yeah.
weird split. Oh, it's
Yeah,
IB.
that is weird.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it as
That's
IB.
like low A, high B then.
Yeah, I think it ends up low A, high B somewhere.
Yeah. I'm not sure where we want to put it.
I think the fact there's 2 S's here, I think it has to go low A.
Yeah, I
Low
think
A.
so.
I'm fine with that.
No way, we can do that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fine with that, but I'm fine with that.
Does it? Yeah.
Cole, we'll get to it later, okay?
No. No, I'm not gonna get to later. If it's gonna go there, I think it's above Iron Man 3.
No, we'll get to it later, all right?
All right, let's keep moving.
Let's go to Doctor Strange now.
B.
Yeah, I think
fun
solid B.
visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Mads Mikkelsen. I'm glad he got a paycheck.
Same with Rachel McAdams getting that paycheck.
True.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
I'm very uninspired to make any arguments here.
High B. Cool visuals, cool setup. Character is cooler later on. But this one is just, it's fine. It's fun.
I'm just gonna piggyback. I agree with everything, and I think it has a really cool finale. I like how it's not. I think Mads is definitely not a great villain, but like,
use him right is what you mean,
right? I think that you're right. I think you're right. I don't think they used him right. Yeah, I think as an origin story, it is kind of bland. It's similar to Iron Man's, but not too similar, so it's different enough to make it its own. But at the same time, the visuals are the things that make me come back to it. Not necessarily one I'd put on in the background, like just for fun, like some of these other movies. But definitely one that I have a little soft spot for. So I'd say low A.
Yeah, I think Scott Derrickson's direction is unmatched, so I think it should go in A or B.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like how he defeated Dormammu. Like, I like the whole
Yeah.
like time loop
Yeah,
thing.
finale
That,
does
like,
elevate this movie.
creative way. I thought like, and then, but I think you guys, already mentioned everything else. I would put it in B.
High B is good.
That averages out high B, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, high B. High B is a very appropriate spot for it.
All right, we can do that.
Great.
Just
C
Now,
tier.
Steven
some comments.
had a great point about our next movie that I'd like to bring up.
But yeah, let's go to the next movie.
Sorry. That's such a funny take. Great. Who wants to introduce this one?
Let's go to who wants to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Let's just start with Matt.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, I really like this when it came out, and I still really like it. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I think there are certain sequences that I like more than the first one. Like the use of the chain, I think, is probably better than a lot in the first movie. But other than that, like everything else is just like it's pretty good. Like I don't have a super strong opinion about the rest of the movie though. I think the Sovereign plot is kind of silly, but it's not really. I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
Low B for me. Sorry, Colin, you go ahead.
Oh,
I just try to fill spaces. If everybody's
heard
sitting
Cole.
there, I just start talking.
yeah, no, it's probably a good idea. I don't know. I feel like the MCU obviously has this problem where like humor occasionally will break serious moments, and I think this film is really bad. I think the James Gunn's obviously a pretty good writer most of the time, but occasionally I think he gets in his own way, and I don't think he had anybody working on the script with him for this one, and I think that definitely showed. I don't know, when he's fighting his dad and he just turns into Pac-Man. I'm like, that's funny, but I don't know. It feels like there should be a little more weight. But that's all the MCU, so I can't criticize this one too much specifically. I still think it's got what makes the Guardians movie great. I think the soundtrack is better in this one than the first one. And the group dynamic is still pretty good. Yondu, fantastic in this one. I think it's big upgrade from the first film.
Sure.
So I definitely couldn't put it any lower than high B.
Okay, I'll follow that up since he just talked about the emotional swings by recreating a scene from the movie real quick. Hello, I'm Ego, the living planet. I gave your mother brain cancer. Look at me, I'm David Hasselhoff now. That's just about a perfect recreation of that scene. It does not hit the emotional swings, man. Dude. If it had just taken itself more seriously, it would have been so much better to me. Like if you would just like better sectioned off those areas. Like that's like an emotional scene to me, and then every time like some of those jokes just break me right out of it. Better music, I'd say. I do think it's better music, and the fact that I still like the movie less with better music it says a lot to me. I have Guardians at the top for me, and I have Guardians Volume 2 as a mid-tier. So I'm going to say low B. The Chain is just a better song. So to argue that it uses it better, it's easier to use it because it's the best song on any of those soundtracks. Touching funeral scene for Yondu though. So it really does hit some great emotional points. I just think it's ultimately loses a lot of that because of the necessity to add jokes in.
I didn't think the David Hasselhoff thing was a joke. It was just because that's how he saw him as his father.
Okay, so there's a thing in comedy called a callback, and it is explicitly a comedic method. The fact that he earlier brings up David Hasselhoff and then he goes, "Look at me, I'm David Hasselhoff," no, is the structure of a joke, no matter how you look at it.
I don't think it's a joke at all. I think it's because he saw him as a father figure when he was.
Then stay as his fucking real father, man. I think he sees Ego as a father figure as well, because it's his father.
I mean, I think that's supposed to make you laugh, so I would say it's probably intended as sort of like a joke. But also, I would say the way that kind of builds up, it's kind of like supposed to be this like really fast like shock, like, oh, he gave his mom cancer, and then the camera like zooms into his face, and then he like shoots him. I didn't really hate the way that played out. I think it worked fine in the moment, even if it was intended to be a joke afterwards.
Cool.
Kelly, I
don't
don't think Cole said anything.
I don't know if I have much to add here. I think I'm literally just gonna say my spot, because normally for me in the ranking it's like Guardians is above it and then Volume 2. I think they're just a pair to me. Like I don't think I really don't see them as separate. I feel like they have their same issues. And so but where Guardians is in this ranking and where it would be relative to my own, I think it'd go bottom A, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. What was I gonna? I was just gonna say that Ego is a better villain than Ronan. So
Yes, I'll agree with that.
I think I agree with that.
But he has very specific problems that Ronan doesn't, because Ronan isn't as fleshed out. Which I think because when you intertwine him with your main character specifically,
Tater? With Tater.
I'm sorry, what? What, I missed something. Anyways, I don't know. Like Ronan technically has a connection with Gamora, but doesn't really feel like it's once removed, and so but the movies have the same issue, but the difference is that Quill is very much, a part of the villain's history and vice versa. So for that reason, I think it's below the Guardians normally. Anyways,
Where would you place it? Because I think we've got a low B, a high B, an A. What was yours, Matthew?
I high A.
High A. 2 A's, 2 B's, and where would you put it, Cole?
low A. I said that. Yeah.
Okay, I think that puts it low A then for sure.
Okay.
That I'm like I made one of my most passionate arguments about that one, but I still like it. So
I think you are right, though. It has a
Ellis
better
does have a
soundtrack.
really good video essay about it.
I will just bring this up since you brought it.
I don't agree with everything she says, but I like it.
It is. That's a good essay. Yeah.
Let me just take a look at what everyone had said in the comments. As
Whoa.
Aiden loves this movie. Insane.
Wow, we're all over the place here in the comments. All right, what's up next?
Spider-Man: Homecoming. I don't know who wants to talk about this one first. But
This is like a tough one for me because
Yeah, I'm definitely split on this one.
because at the time I had a lot of fun with it, and going back to it, it doesn't, like, in terms of an MCU movie, it does a lot of cool things, but in terms of like a Spider-Man movie, not as much. Which I know is I know it's not a fair take.
Yeah.
I know it's not a fair take because it's his first movie, which then I'll get into that with Far From Home when we get there. But I think Vulture is cool. I think the reveal is awesome, and it still hits me every time I watch it. I just wish that I don't know. I just wish it was doing more. I know that's kind of a weird take, but like I wish we didn't have time. We didn't have to have scenes like Shocker and shit like that. Like I didn't need that. I needed more, like either development for Peter, or I needed more time with Vulture and understanding. So low B, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd put it at B as well.
Nothing else.
Wow, nobody has. I really like this one. I thought people would have stronger opinions.
I do too.
I enjoy this one. I'd probably rank it like low A. I don't know. Like I feel like there's low stakes are kind of work for this one. Like I don't know. I feel like there's not as much conflict with his identity. Like, sure, he misses out at swimming with Liz at the hotel or whatever, and then like he still gets to go to the dance with her anyway. Like, I feel like his identity is not much like big a conflict here, and like the films like abandon it anyway. Like at the end, it feels like they're abandoning it anyway or trying to reset it. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like that's such a core aspect of his identity. And I feel like it's like these films aren't doing like a fantastic job of him trying to balance that Spider-Man Peter Parker identity. But I like everything else here. I think it's a good coming of age movie. Vulture, like for all the reasons you guys said, was fantastic. I think he's one of the better villains in the MCU easily. And that reveal in theaters is just fantastic. I didn't up until then I don't think it had a better reaction from the audience than that. So low A I think is fair.
I'd go high A here. I think it's just okay. You guys are making arguments here that have not been made on any of these other movies. It's the sort of thing that got Civil War put in A tier. Well, I didn't realize that we were looking at this as being committed to the comics or in context of other Spider-Man movies. It's within the MCU.
That's what makes
right?
Spider-Man work for me. That's the thing. Like, I know it doesn't have to follow the comics. Like, there's a lot of other stuff that doesn't follow the comics I don't care about. But that's the reason. I don't know. That's why. I mean, I still don't think I'm being too harsh on it. I have it at low A. I think this is a good movie.
I didn't think those arguments were something that would be discussed in an MCU tier list. Gone much harder on Civil War.
If I could redact it from the record, would Andrew? It was just in my head at the moment. All right.
I mean, yeah, I think this one's just it's like fun soundtrack. Tom Holland is great as Spider-Man. It takes Spider-Man and just it lets him have fun in his own environment. It's super funny to me to just see him like swinging through the suburbs, like instead of like through New York City itself. Like it's like a new take. I've still got the comics to go back to, so I don't need like this Spider-Man to be the exact same as the ones in the comics or Tobey Maguire or anything. I still love those movies. I just I think this is really fun on its own, and it also the general cast of characters works super well. Which could be tough when you're introducing so many new characters. But all the high school students, Martin Starr's teacher character, it all works. That's certainly an overdependence on Iron Man, but I think that's more of an issue in Far From Home after he's dead than it is in this one.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that, but you already brought it. You brought up the Iron Man thing already.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is my favorite Spider-Man. Like, I love Tom Holland's portrayal. Ned Leeds is a great comedic relief character. Like, this was definitely one of my favorites, but it's just the whole Iron Man thing reliance that I might like put it at low S or high A for me. So
yeah, I think this movie, the reason that I don't apply the Iron Man thing to it as much is because this is a movie about how he can survive without Iron Man. Like, that's the core of this, and the fact that they go back on it later doesn't hurt it as much in my eyes. This is a movie about how he doesn't need him necessarily to be a good hero.
Mm-hmm. So where are we gonna put this?
I think it ends up in A, right, between everybody's like what.
Yeah, we had I think
we had high B's and I had a low A.
So A somewhere. We can rearrange it within that category later. At the end.
Yeah, now looking at it, the problem is I'm thinking where I'd put it based off what everything else I would, and now that Doctor Strange and Captain America are there, I don't think I could put it where it'd be.
I think you should put it in the context of your own.
But at the same time, I gotta fight for some movies, so this one wasn't the one I was.
These are a bunch of revisionists now coming in being like,
I'm not.
I don't like Tom Holland. No, in the comments. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I see. Yes. Yeah, Rachel's got a good point.
True.
There. So.
Very top heavy tier list, John. Agreed. Definitely some that I would remove from this top.
Next time we'll have Steven on, and then just like
no, dude. Next one, you better get John on. I want to hear his takes on these.
Okay.
Up next, hopefully a movie that most of us agree on.
Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, let's.
Let me check Matt's reaction to the title name. I don't know where he lands on this one.
Let's start with Matt then.
He's stoic as usual.
I really, really like this movie. I'm not sure if I would put it an S. I'm thinking high A, just because there's some things that like it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not sure what there's just like some small things I don't like about it, but I'm not sure if I can like put it into words. I think it's just some of it might be a little bit of like the budget. Like I don't mean this in a bad way. It seems a little bit like low budget, but I think it just kind of relates to the tone as well. And I think Hela is slightly underutilized. So that's why I would definitely like. I really, really like this movie, but I would put it in high A, not quite in S tier.
I'd probably put it high A. I think the one, like the same reason I criticize Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when Asgard explodes and they make a joke, I'm like, we just have one moment, please. Because like that felt like it should have been serious. Asgard's been around like pretty much the entire MCU and explodes, and then Korg makes a joke. I just wish like that almost takes it down a tier for me. From like I probably would have put it at S without that joke. It's come on, Asgard's been around forever, and then they just make it. It's bad. It's not that funny.
I'll give you my justification for it in a moment.
It's not that funny. I think Taika Waititi balances humor way better in some of his other movies, so I know he's capable of doing that. Okay, maybe down a tier. Maybe down a tier is a bit extreme, but I really wish they'd just been able to commit to seriousness for one moment, because I know Taika Waititi can do it. Otherwise, fantastic movie. It's really fucking funny, and I think it revitalized Thor, which was much needed. So for that, high A.
Yeah.
Okay, can I follow up here just to explain why I ranted about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and then
Sure.
This movie is inherently a comedy, not an emotional film. And so I think prioritizing jokes in a movie that is meant to be a comedy makes sense. Whereas Guardians 2 is trying to be an emotional film and a comedy. It's not a comedy at its core. It is an emotional story at its core, whereas Ragnarok is a comedy at its core. John is right. Taika's not Taika's best. Second worst even, for sure. But that's not his fault. It's Eagle versus. John hasn't even seen Eagle versus Shark, so I don't know what else he's placing down there. But yeah, you get to see Taika have fun with it. It's talked about how much that's improv. I don't know if I believe all of that because it's Marvel, it's Disney. But yeah, it's a movie that does what it sets out to do. It's funny and it's cool as hell. S.
I'll just say high A. It used to be S for me. It used to be. It really did. I rewatched it within the year here, and I think it didn't necessarily work as well in rewatch. But those great moments are still pretty funny. I think one, honestly, the most underrated one is the chair bit when he's coming in. It's literally the Willy Wonka, and then he's just screaming. I love that. Hela may be a little underutilized, but yeah, I mean, she's also kind of there's a thing where like some MCU villains feel like they're giving characters so that they have some resonance with the other hero. And sometimes they feel just like a villain to be a villain. I feel like Hela feels like a villain to be a villain, even though she does have a little bit of backstory. And when she's doing that, it's really great. And I think it's funny. I think it's still funny. And I would say Guardians of the comedy. I don't know where you're coming from on that, Andrew. But
dude, Dr. fucking James Gunn's intent is to be more of an emotional story. But
yeah, but it doesn't. Okay, whatever. Anyways, they're all action comedies. If we want to give a label or whatever.
Oh, gross! If you're referring to Hold 'em,
Anyway, so top A.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like, just because like it's a comedy doesn't mean it can't have emotional scenes, and I don't think Thor Ragnarok really, or it doesn't. It like the emotional scenes aren't there because of the comedy.
What?
Does that make sense?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah,
I don't quite get what you're saying.
Like I'm saying that just because it's a comedy doesn't mean it like can't have anything that's like
Yeah.
emotional.
Mhm.
But I think that because of that, like Thor Ragnarok doesn't have much emotion because of the comedy. Like
So, but you're not making a statement about that. You're just stating a fact about the film.
yeah, which is why it
Where
doesn't
does that
work.
lead you to place
Like,
it?
which is
Okay,
why I
so,
don't.
yeah,
Like,
you think it doesn't work. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah. When I watched this in theater, I thought it was S tier, but having rewatched it, like I would put it in A tier, just because like some of the comedy still like just it feels forced or it's awkward and like I don't think it completely works all the time. But yeah, and I think Jeff Goldblum is great. Like I think I love his character. I think he's really funny.
I'll add this though. I do like how it kind of revitalizes Thor because
Mm-hmm.
I think by Age of Ultron we were getting to such a low point where he wasn't really doing much other than, like I said earlier, chasing MacGuffins. And I felt like they literally at the beginning of the movie they're like, "Hey, I was going after these Infinity Stones. I gave up. All right, I'm me now." And then I think from that starter scene it sets the tone onward. And I like this Thor more than previously. Although I do wish they'd bring in some more serious elements back into his character. But I give this movie credit for revamping Thor in a great way, helping the universe as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it also looks great. Like I think the look
Oh
of the
my
movie-
god, what a difference! So, all right, where do we put it then?
I think that ends up in high A, right? Based
yeah,
on-
A, high A or low S. I don't know.
Most people said high
Or-
A, and then I was the only S, so I'd say high A.
Okay.
I would maybe make the case for low S.
I would also make that
Yeah.
case.
don't
I'm
mind
not
it
looking
in
to
low
argue
S.
too
Like,
much
I
here.
don't.
I'm cool with just moving on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can. Yeah. Do we want to put it here?
Should we vote on that?
I don't mind it. I'm okay with it.
Then
I mean, I
I
think
don't-
three of us said we like put it in S, but moved it to A. Like recently.
True, I
after a
did
rewatch.
say
Yeah,
that.
you're right, Matt. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
disagree with what I just said. I'm gonna put it A.
Look, just make a pick.
All right.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't want to talk about it anymore.
Let's go. Let's
You
get
guys don't get
Let's
it, and I
go.
just gotta accept that.
We don't get it. We have it ranked very highly.
Yeah, I mean,
We have it ranked very highly.
You have it ranked on the same tier as Civil War. That's what you don't get.
Oh, okay. Well,
I disagree with that.
I
but
when
already
I
made my
had
case
Civil
for
War
that.
ranked at high B, I resent that. So
Yeah, I mean, I made my
Yeah.
case. You have to take it as a
Yeah,
whole
exactly, yeah.
sometimes.
yeah, you got to take it as a whole, but also within my individual rankings, if that makes sense. So how about we move on?
Yeah. Let's go to Black Panther now.
Okay.
Let's start with Cole.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is one that has actually aged a little better on rewatches. First time in theaters, I was pretty hyped going into it, and of course, the main criticism that most people bring up is the finale, especially that fight scene on the train, which is some terrible VFX. But even then, I think it's a great stepping off point from Civil War. I think T'Challa is really developed in kind of dealing with the the problems of his family's past and having to deal with them in the today. And if you had asked me when it first came out, I'd probably put it in like low B. But I think it's like low A for me. I think there's a lot of great stuff. I think I didn't even mention Killmonger. I'm sure somebody else will, but he's also fantastic. I think Michael B. Jordan adds a lot of life to this movie. So yeah, low A for me.
Matt, do you want to go?
Okay, yeah, this is a tough one for me. I like instinctually I want to put it in B, but like when I think back to like Infinity War and when they like go to Wakanda, like the hype for that, everyone was hyped as soon as they heard the drums. So I think there's something to be said for that alone, just like the build up and the experience that we first got when we like were in Wakanda for the first time, or not the first time, but like actually exploring it for the first time. So for that alone, I would say I probably put it in like high B, possibly low A.
I don't know how long T'Challa's gone in this film. I feel like he's gone for a decent amount of time after he seemingly gets killed. I thought that was an odd decision. I feel like he didn't get better development in Civil War, but I feel like he was still somehow underutilized, if that makes sense. I still think this is a good film. Like the score, fantastic. Like you guys were saying, the callbacks in Infinity War got everybody hyped. Yeah, that VFX scene disaster. I'm not going to fault the film too much for that. I assume that was just a crunch time. They couldn't get
Yeah.
it done.
As I understand it,
I
yeah,
played
that's what it
Marvel
was.
for it, so I think
Yeah,
I agree.
But-
I think if they really cared about the subject matter, they would have pushed.
Yeah.
The problem is once you set up where the things go in the timeline, you have to sometimes meet these deadlines,
Yeah.
which is a shame because then this something doesn't get as much love because they have to rush through it.
I think I'd place it. I'm between top B and low A. I think I gotta go top B. I don't have it ranked super highly. I think it's a good film. I think it does a lot of things right. I just think Black Panther is a better character, and some of his not a better character. He's just more fun in other films. I don't know.
No, I get that. I mean, in this movie, Black Panther T'Challa himself serves to highlight, I think, a lot of the side characters, and that's where the movie shines, is the ensemble.
Mhm.
Pretty much everybody is fantastic in this movie, especially the woman. Finally, like this is the first time that I think they've really nailed down that representation. You got like Nakia and Okoye and Shuri are so good. It actually totally works. Killmonger is the best villain in the MCU over Thanos, easy. And I still place it because of the story structure, and I don't get Freeman's involvement in it all, and it's like high B low A for me because of some of those elements. But it's incredible ensemble
God
cast.
damn it!
Yeah,
All right.
I am also in the high B low A group.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Go
The thing
ahead,
is,
sorry.
I haven't seen it since 2018, so I watched it twice.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it.
Haven't
I'd
seen it
lean
since.
towards high B on my own if I have to give one.
Yeah, I'll go to high B.
I'd go low A.
Might be.
high B.
Okay.
I think it is. That's top tier B though. Yeah. After.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even where everything is right now, I'd still
Yeah.
think it's so close between those two.
Mhm.
It kind of even deserves something in between. Like it's not. I feel
B
like
plus. B plus too.
B plus, but we're not doing that.
Yeah, the one of those jokes sucks.
yeah.
They're gonna have some of that stuff. Sure, it's still a good character.
So
All right. Well, let's move on to the
Sorry,
next
John.
movie.
the
Sorry,
big boy.
John. Sorry, Albert. I think Albert has someone super high too.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go on to Infinity War.
Okay.
Starting with Andrew.
No, no, I'm not starting this one.
We haven't started with you in a while, but okay, let's go to Colin then.
Oh, okay. S tier, my favorite theater experience. I think it balances a ton of characters really well. Sure, they don't get a lot of development, but that's what the MCU is for, giving them some development, I guess. But I don't know. I think it's paced pretty well. I know obviously the snap wasn't going to stick, but it was a shocking moment in theaters. Thor's entrance to Wakanda, iconic. It's just a lot of great action set pieces. So much so that I'm willing to overlook. There's not a ton of character development, and that's cool. S tier.
It's cool that there's no character development. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Thanos gets developed. It's his movie. It's one of the few.
Developed is the wrong term. You just learn about him.
Okay,
doesn't
you know what?
change
That's
in any way.
true, and that's why it's low S for me. But I at a certain point, these are theater movies to me, and Infinity War
I get that.
was my favorite theater experience, so I got to give it a low S.
Yeah.
Yeah, S. I don't really have anything else to say.
I
I don't really care.
I think Gamora is a much better character here. Like I think I feel like she didn't like too much. But I think it's cool to get that relation with Thanos to carry Thanos along in the movie.
You guys ready?
Can I
Wait,
go
what's yours
before you do?
Yeah, you guys should all go, and then
Because I
I'll
feel like
mine.
I'm
and
gonna
then
give a
it's gonna
pretty.
get placed S anyway.
No, I'll give my blanket statement on it. I think once again, it's kind of like Guardians here. I feel like Endgame and Infinity War are like a pair for me. Like they have to stick together on a ranking. So like I don't know where we'll all stand, but I think it is one of the best theater experiences. I would agree, even more than Endgame. In turn, but like yeah, the problem is that you're juggling so much. And at the time, my thing about it that I appreciated was how well they were able to juggle these characters. But then you realize that sometimes that maybe you don't have to structure your story that way. And just because they want to get all these characters on screen, they're forced to relegate, Hulk to a joke and like, even T'Challa to a joke in a way. And so a lot of cool space stuff going on though. I really like that. It pulls a lot of those great elements from Guardians and kind of it's the perfect. In a way, this is like mashing the Guardians. Like if you want, they're not separate universe, obviously, but like mashing those elements with what the Avengers movies had set up and kind of fusing them in Thanos as like the middle point there. And Thanos is still the best villain in the MCU for me, which is part of the reason why it stands as a tier. So I would say low S.
You said no, and then you placed it in S anyway.
Yes. Yeah, I also put it in an S. So
Go ahead, Andrew.
Low B.
Okay.
Yeah.
The emotional core of the movie is either Thanos and his kids. Well, it's Thanos and his kids and Wanda and Vision. I don't give a shit about Wanda and Vision until WandaVision itself. That's just a stupid relationship that you are only putting in the movies, especially Age of Ultron, because it was in the comics. And then we're supposed to care about it because of that. The best part of the movie is how they actually managed to make all the characters work together in a pretty decent way, but it also means that you don't get to focus on any one great character. Thanos is a cool villain, but dude, over Killmonger, come on. Like, he believes in what he believes, but like, yeah, I know, John. I gotta do something here. They're gonna put it in S anyway. Thanos is cool, but he's not like an incredible character. It has some of the more fun visual fight scenes, which is kind of why it bumps up a little bit more for me. Thor's entrance is great, but there's like so much in the movie that's like, I don't know. I like when I'm watching the movie, I'm just like, okay, like I guess this is happening. Like just like the Nidavellir stuff, stuff around that, and it takes a while to. I don't know. There's also the argument for me that it's only half of a story. It doesn't stand on its own without Endgame, and you have to like the entire movie is built around Endgame happening next, right? Like it doesn't. If this was the end of the MCU, nobody would be like, "Yes, this is the most satisfying ending." It's built around the fact that it will be continued later, so it doesn't stand on its own as a film. So that's why I think low B.
So, what do we have? 4 S's and 1 B.
Yep. So
Yeah.
That's still S.
Go ahead.
Anything particular from Infinity War.
Andrew's kind of convincing me though. I'd probably put it at high A now. but it would be a pair, so I don't know where that would stand. So yeah.
I think we'll just put it on the bottom of S for now, and then
Endgame is better than it just for the nature of it. It actually embraces that it's just fan service, whereas this is like, we're not fan service, we're still doing a story.
So do we want to go straight to Endgame, or do you want to go to the other two movies?
No. Let's do what Marvel did and wait.
I'm ready to shit on these. I'm ready to shit on these next two movies.
Okay.
Let's
get into it.
Yeah, let's go to Ant-Man and the Wasp next.
Yeah, I'll shit on this one.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Let's start with Matt.
High F. What does that even mean?
Below Thor, but above Thor: The Dark World.
I know. Like, where it goes. Whatever.
I would say C.
Okay.
I don't think it's as good as the first Ant-Man. I do like many aspects of it, but I was really hoping that Michelle Pfeiffer would have a bigger role going into it, and she didn't really do a whole lot at all. So that's like honestly the main reason, which is because I was kind of expecting a little bit more from the story in that regard. But I really like Ghost. Walton Goggins' character, like whatever, I don't really care. I would put it in like low C.
Man.
High D for me. Ghost is cool. That's about it. Like I said about the last Ant-Man, Peyton Reed brings no voice to these films whatsoever. The comedy is inferior in almost every way to the first film, and I think that first film definitely benefited from right having fingerprints on it. Like Matt said, Michelle Pfeiffer is nothing to do here. I don't even think her performance here is like what little performance she has here is that good. I think she's again collecting a paycheck, which is fine. I get it. It happens. But it's just, and after following up Infinity War, I mean, it's just what a letdown. It's just not a good film.
You know what? This movie has Jimmy Woo, so it's automatically S tier.
He does bring a little light to that movie.
It underuses Randall Park, which is what should actually be talked about.
I'll give
this is true as well. Like this is not a trait that's just for this.
There are scenes here and there, but it's just I don't know. I mean, you're right. I can't specifically point out, but it just felt. It felt not so. Some of these, a lot of these movies do feel soulless occasionally. But Peyton Reed's just not a good director. Other than I can put it like that. Sure.
I'm willing to track an internal logic, and I'm willing to work with a logic that doesn't make sense as long as the movie is compelling, and this movie is not compelling. The quantum shit sucks. The performances, like even, dude, I've never been like bored with the Paul Rudd performance, except for here. It's very hard for me to name something good about it besides the fact that Walton Goggins got a paycheck. Like even Wasp just got done dirty. There's like no great character building around her or anything.
What? Should I go? Or do you
Yeah,
want to go, Matthew? Yeah, I think the thing is that I like Ant-Man a lot, so this really does hurt because it's half as funny and half as interesting.
Yeah.
To the point where like, and we'll get into the next one. I think it'll be a big criticism there too, which is that we were all waiting for the next movie, and these two were in there, and that doesn't help. But it also doesn't help that the movie's not compelling. So for that, it's low C.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I would probably put it in low C, but this is one I have I don't hate it. I have fun with some of this stuff. Like I like the truth serum stuff. I like the Baba Yaga bit, but
John,
I like David Dastmalchian, and I think he's funny. But
you can't just say people you like and then they're in the movie, so it's good. I like David.
You just said Walter Goggins.
I said he got a paycheck. I didn't say it made the movie better.
That's okay. Whatever. It's one and the same to me.
No, I said it as he got a paycheck, but that's not even a good thing for the movie because he didn't get to do anything.
Sure, but you're giving him praise in a way.
Yeah, no, I was talking specifically about like that bit.
Yeah,
you know,
I'll praise anybody who throws money his way. It doesn't make the movie better.
I don't think he's mad at it, actually.
Watch Vice Principals.
So is this any up at low C, high D?
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one who had it in D tier, actually. I don't know. Andrew, what was your ranking? You're F?
Yeah, thoroughly.
Okay. I mean,
incredibly uninteresting, incredibly unimportant.
Matt, what was your rating?
Low C.
No C.
I think mine was low C too, so I think it ends up in D, right?
With an F, yeah, with that F.
With that F and then two low C's there, yeah.
And then
All right.
Overrated.
All right.
Let's go to the next.
I'll need to leave in like 5-ish minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Matt,
drop the rest of your rankings in the chat so we can at least discuss them.
Who wants to go?
All right,
I'm
first?
not
Matt, go ahead.
do that.
Go
Good,
first.
good luck.
Just
Matt, go
list
first.
them.
Matt, go.
Go.
Well, okay, Endgame obviously. Well, wait, Captain
Oh, wait.
Marvel.
Yeah.
After Marvel was next.
Oh boy, I feel like it's gonna end up in like C or D, but I'm just gonna put it in B. That's my. I'm gonna say B. Endgame S.
Oh, you're just listing
Wait, put it.
them now. Okay. Wait, let me
I
write
thought you
this
wanted
down.
me to. Okay,
Let me
yeah,
write
we can.
this down.
Yeah, you gotta write it down.
Far From Home.
You could put Endgame S, you said?
Yeah. Far From Home. Probably like high B, low A. I kind of go back and forth with it between Homecoming, so it's around that same area. WandaVision. I'm kind of biased, but I would put it in A. Maybe B. Falcon and Winter Soldier D. Black Widow F. Loki C. Yeah.
And Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Low A.
All right.
I don't think I went in order, but
I wrote them down. Where we have them. Thank you for being here, Matt.
yeah. I'll stick around for a few more minutes, but yeah, I'll probably have to go after that.
So you can argue over Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess I'll go next for Captain Marvel. I think it's a slight step up from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think it's not a great performance from Brie Larson. I get she's supposed to be fish out of water. She has way better performances. I think she's a fantastic actress, and she just it's a very bland performance here. I don't know what she was doing. I'm gonna blame the directors, I guess. I don't think they. I don't know what they have, like half Nelson under the belt.
And it's kind of a funny story. And Mississippi Grind.
Okay,
They're good directors.
Fair enough. So maybe it's just a product of the Marvel machine. Point is, it's not super exciting. It's an okay introduction to the character. I guess high C is appropriate for it. It's just fine, better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I think they did her slightly. She's at least more interesting in any game. She creates problems all for the MCU, but we can discuss that later. So yeah, high C. That's it. High C.
Yeah, I want this ending up high C, so I don't know what I have to say to get it there. But Brie Larson's one of my favorite actresses of all time, and just doesn't get to do anything. Say every Marvel movie is an ad for the military, essentially, but this one is especially nefarious in that regard. Just being like, little girls, you can join the Air Force too. Please. I don't even know, man. I don't like it. It just lacks a lot of charm, of any sort of charm. And with a fun cast, it doesn't do almost anything. I can see D or C here.
Okay. What I'll say is that I don't think anybody has said here is that I think the biggest problem for me thinking about it is that this is like the quintessential example of shoving a lot of references to other movies and making it not compelling because of it. Like that's really my biggest issue with it, because as it stands alone, if you try to watch this movie without any context, it's like it's so like below average. Like I mean, she sort of has an arc, but yeah. Once again, I'll say this. I don't think that. I don't even know. I know I didn't want to talk about this. I just don't even know where.
It's no unicorn store, right?
Oh God!
I want to watch them. I haven't seen it.
It's Andrew, you'd probably like it. I don't. Yeah, I'm just gonna say my rating. I don't even want to. below Ant-Man and the Wasp, so D.
Yeah.
Aw.
I think the best part about the movie is her dynamic with Nick Fury, and that's about it. But
Yeah.
I think all the Kree Skrull stuff is poorly developed. I don't think anything on Hala is good.
No.
I like Rambo and I like Mendelsohn.
Yes, I like Mendelsohn. Yes, but I would put it in D. I like that he wasn't a villain as you would expect from many Mendelsohn.
Yeah, sure.
But
I guess
yeah,
that is a plus.
I guess I don't think the orange cat counter is. Really
If
we're bringing it back from the last real ranked.
Yes.
Orange cat counter.
Orange cat.
That's what it is.
Dude.
That up.
Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares besides Sam.
Hey,
Okay.
it appeared in horror remix, so you know I gotta bring it back.
I know Andrew watched all of that,
If
right?
you made the
Oh,
inside,
yeah. He's a big fan. Big fan of horror remakes.
I love
But
horror
yeah, I put in D. I guess majority is in D.
Yeah. Let's do high D then, right?
Yeah, ID seems right.
About we can.
Colin and I both said C, so
All right.
Well,
The big kahuna.
see, I've refused to rank this movie in the past.
Okay, well, you're on a show where you rank things.
What I'm struggling with right now. It's purely an emotional experience for me. Endgame, that is growing up watching every single MCU movie in theaters with my brother. It's one of the things we bonded over most is comics and stuff like that. Also, wait, okay, before we get into that, can I counter Jay Deep on this because this is important to me? He says, what is it? Where is it? Infinity War is Thanos' story, and he wins at the end, so the story for that film is complete. It's not, man. It's an interesting argument to be had there. It's surely an interesting argument, but it's just why then do we not see Thanos even get the first Infinity Stone if it's all about him? Why don't we get to see him interact more with his like minions that are supposedly so important to him? It's a build up for this is what Infinity War is, and this delivers on the fan service. So I love it. It gets me emotional. It's a film that I love to rewatch. Because it's it taps into that emotional superhero-y sort of guy that I can be, and I give it a lot of credit for that. Give me a second to figure out my rating.
Do you want me to go now? Then
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it's a pair with Infinity War. I think it's a little bit below Infinity War. I don't have a problem with the time travel aspect of it, even though there have been some contradictions with it. But even so, I think it is a great conclusion. It has just as much of the highs as Infinity War with a little less structure. So for that, I'd put it. Yeah, I just put it below Infinity War in S.
I say Matt's still here. Might as well talk about it, right?
Matt, take it away.
She muted.
He's muted.
He's gonna go. Bye,
Yeah,
Matt.
No, but he brought his phone in. It looks like he has another device here, so he might be.
No, that's it.
No.
We'll see.
Well,
We'll see.
Thank you for joining us, Matt.
Matthew. That goes to you or Colin.
I don't have a ton to say about it other than the reasons you guys mentioned are pretty accurate. Like I said, Infinity War theater movie, Endgame, pretty close to that experience. Like Cole said, a little less structured, but I still think it delivers on all the fan service. And yeah, Andrew, you made a good point. It's like unabashedly a fan service movie. And for that, I mean, sometimes you can criticize that. I've been with the MCU since I was 8. And it just worked. So low S, probably below Infinity War, but it was still a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I would put in S above Infinity War.
Yes,
but,
Steven.
Yeah, I mean, Portals, obviously, like,
Portals.
I feel like there's not a lot that I can say that hasn't already been said. So I feel like Andrew said a lot love like the fan service thing like that. I would probably say as well. You know, I'm a big MCU guy. So, but yeah, I guess we are putting
This
it
is
S tier.
huge. This is huge. Yeah, dude. Like I would rather something unabashedly be fan service than something try to be fan service but try to present itself as such a serious thing. So I definitely have Endgame above Infinity War for myself, which means I guess it's S tier. It's probably S tier for me. It's just hard for me to rank because I've never tried to analyze it from a critical lens. It's like,
then you run into some problems, but
it's a movie that I'm really happy to just enjoy. And yeah, good. So MCU always struggled with music. Black Panther's the far and above the best score, but this one comes. It's at least memorable.
I'll add. I think the intro to it is really impressive though. I think it's a good way of getting you into it and wrapping up the things. No, I guess okay. So after the
5 years, 5 years later,
like them actually going to the planet and just
okay.
axing Thanos. I think it's really impressive, and it leaves like this in a way that they didn't feel satisfied, and then when you see the 5 years later, it like hits me in the stomach for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'm really glad they committed to. I talked to my brother before it came out, and I was like, dude, I really hope they don't just immediately. Like, I hope there are consequences to Thanos doing this, and things change in the universe because of it, and that happened. So I was very happy that they actually committed to something affecting the universe. Of course, you know, everybody still got brought back. I think it would have been dope to be like, they're all dead. But that was never going to happen. That was never going to happen, which is another weakness of Infinity War, is nobody ever believed that all those characters were truly gone.
Yeah.
I embrace my emotion on this one. I fully embrace it.
All right.
Matt is here if he wants to say anything. I think he's in the call.
He put it at S in quick summary.
I don't know.
So
I agree with everything.
Okay, cool.
He agrees with everything.
Thank you, Matt. All right. Now Far From Home.
Wait, this is interesting because the Marvel movies are inherently a theater experience, and I think that's fine.
I mean, I've rewatched it, and
I've enjoyed it at home quite a bit as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the theater experience was big. I mean, I haven't had another theater experience like it.
True.
Yeah, no.
I went to see that with my cousins, and afterwards they tried to talk to me, and I was sitting there crying. So I couldn't talk to my middle and high school cousins, which I think is cool. Because I also went to see Rise of Skywalker.
You're talking about Far From Home.
No,
No, we're still on Endgame.
Yeah.
All right. Now we can get on Far From Home, right?
Yeah, it is compelling. It does the same thing that Infinity War does, where it gives a lot of room to a lot of characters. But it does it better.
All right. Let's just move on to Far From Home now. Yes.
Okay.
Dude, I've only, this is okay. So now we're approaching only one view territory for me. So I guess I don't like. I like Far From Home, but I don't. It doesn't. It has an overdependence on Iron Man in a way that affects it to a worse degree. It has a fun villain though. It's a generally entertaining story, and I still like this Peter Parker as his own character. So B tier for me.
Okay. I think where I stand with it is that it does everything that Homecoming does, but does it away from New York, and I think I kind of dislike it for that reason. I know it's a fair criticism because it's inherently a part of Spider-Man as a character, and even if you look outside of comics and that, right, just what they set up in the first movie, Andrew, I think it is a disservice that they're going on this field trip, even though it leads to some cool set pieces. I felt like you could have done that anywhere. It didn't have to be all across Europe. Mysterio's cool though. In a lot of ways, he's more compelling than Vulture. Until the end, I think. When it's, I guess, okay. Because inherently, most people know that he's a villain going into it, even though they do the twist thing. Right?
That doesn't work at all.
I don't think it works at all. So if you think of it outside of that, right, as a character, he's just more fun and interesting, trying to be deceptive in that way. So by the end, when he does end up dying, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. So overall, it's probably below Homecoming for me, but I don't think I'd put it above like Ant-Man or anything like that. So I'm no, you know what? I'll just say low B. I don't think it's doing anything hurtful or like anything a disservice to any of these characters. It's just kind of average to a little bit above average. I think Andrew's criticisms are pretty much the same I have, though. Way too much reliance on Iron Man.
I don't care. I honestly just don't care too much about this one or where it goes. I'll rewatch it before the MCU, the MCU finals trivia match. But
cool dream sequence, if you want to call it. I don't know what you call it. Like you know, when he's the illusion sequence, I guess.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Great. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, even though it looks very CG, it's still really cool.
It kind of works.
Yeah.
Like that
It
CG
embraces
look.
it.
Yeah, it kind of works. Yeah, like everything you guys said is all true for me. Mysterio is really cool. Illusion stuff is very, very fun. Yeah, it's the most fun MCU villain. He's got to be up there, even though I wouldn't say he's like an amazing villain by any means, but I think the movie's just a lot of fun. It does everything Homecoming does right, maybe just a little worse. I don't think it's like a big downgrade. I think they're pretty similar in quality, so that's why I have it at high B.
All right. Well, I love this movie. I like it more than Homecoming. This is probably like one of my favorite MCU movies. I think we already talked about Mysterio, so like we don't have to get into that. I obviously like knowing the comics, like I knew that Mysterio was a villain, but my parents and one of my friends like who I watched it with like had no idea, and they thought like it was executed well, but like it's hard for me to say because I knew it going in. I really like the European aesthetic. I like that they went to Europe, and like I thought like it was a good use of those locations and like how that like field trip. I feel like I really like that part. I liked how it focused on Peter Parker having to move on from like Tony Stark's death. I think it like becoming his own like superhero.
I'm a sucker for a mentor-mentee relationship. I've had some personal experience that makes that a really touching story to me, and I don't think it delivers well here. That's from my perspective.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It just didn't do it for me.
But best part about the mid credits is that J. Jonah Jameson was back.
Yes,
and that's the yeah. I mean, I can't argue with J.K. Simmons being. Oh, I love that man. He's my favorite actor.
Yeah. Oh wow, you like J.K. Simmons?
Battling it out.
What, Andrew? You like J.K. Simmons?
Who knew, dude?
Possible.
All right.
Well, that's why I'm not watching any trailers for No Way Home.
Yes.
Have you not seen any like even images or anything?
I just saw like the Doctor Strange like thumbnail, and that's it.
Interesting.
We literally we were seeing Shang-Chi and he ran out of the theater. He did not want to watch the trailer. And
Yeah, you didn't want to hear anything. Yeah.
Bro, they didn't play the Spider-Man trailer before Shang-Chi for me. That's crazy.
Really? That's
I just
odd.
realized that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
They
the first
played
thing they played
Eternals,
for us.
and that was it. Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Interesting.
So
That's
that's tier for me.
Okay,
I mean,
now I think
you already know.
I
but-
think we
you have
should
S tier?
continue
do.
this ranking.
Okay, so S.
We had to wait a whole
It's
year.
like B's. Matt said high A, low B when he said it. If he's still here, he can chime in. But Colin, what was yours again?
high B.
Okay, that seems to lean towards A then, I guess.
Yeah, low A.
I'm
Low
low B. So
Okay.
it's low B, high
So
B.
it's it. Low A or high B?
I'm low B.
Okay, so I think that
Okay,
leans
that's high B then.
B then, right?
Yeah.
I'll just put it there, and we can rearrange everything later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now going to our first TV show, right?
Oh, right.
Oh, right. I thought we were about to.
I know. I wasn't ready.
We're still doing
Get on his pedestal.
chronological then.
We'll go. Okay.
Also, I think this is interesting from Steven, but I'm just curious. Like, I think I've had a similar thing before, but never with seeing it twice and liking it and then going back on it. I've definitely seen it. When I went on Albert's podcast for this, I was like, I think this is better than Homecoming, and I've very much changed my mind over the years.
Okay.
Okay, so who wants to handle WandaVision?
I
I
go
can-
first. Oh no.
No, Colin, please,
no.
I insist.
I just
I
wanted to get
insist.
my thoughts. I like the show a ton up until the finale, and I think the finale falls off so hard that I have to go low B.
Wow.
Whoa, okay.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I mean, not like whoa, that's a crazy ranking. Just whoa, that's interesting.
I'm gonna have the same criticisms. But I don't think the problem is that it's such a weird. I wish they just committed to the idea of being in that world, right? That
Mhm.
as much as I do like Monica Rambeau as a character here, but I think there was just so much potential of being so different than everything else. I think the aspects of having it come into the TV world were definitely the most interesting. And then once they explain them, it's like Pandora's box. Once you open it, you can't like pull it back. And so, even though at the time, because of the week to week schedule, that was what I was looking forward to, was an explanation. But I don't think I liked the way they went about it. And I think it also has a case of a villain who is just the definition of so weak you can't believe it. In the director, what's his name? I don't even know.
Hayward or something. Yeah.
Hayward, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
So shooting the kids.
Sure. Even if it wasn't, I wouldn't know a difference. And I kind of wish they made Wanda more villainous. I don't think they have the balls to yet. Hopefully
Dude, that would
do.
be so sick if she just became a full villain.
But the TV aspects of each era were really impressive until 2000s. I think that because
No.
what?
I like that.
Go ahead.
No,
I just don't like it because
Malcolm in the
I don't
Middle
like
one?
it because by that point in the show they had given up on the barrier between the two worlds.
yeah.
Right. So it feels rushed and it's just there because it was there before. You gave him one more episode to do a 2000s bit, and then modern day coincides with the entrance of what I can't remember what the team is called. Sword.
Yeah.
Sword. Okay. Sword coming in and doing that whole bit. That would have been more interesting to me.
Yeah, they had just waited to reveal.
Also,
anything until-
Mephisto would have been really interesting too,
Yeah.
But here's another big criticism though, is Agatha. I think Agatha from the start is really cool, and then she turns into like a Disney Channel villain. And that's pretty much all I'll say of that. Yeah. So ranking. Low C.
Okay. Well, I think I'm like with Colin, I think, and Rachel as well. I think the finale does drop it quite a bit, but I also just like the whole stuff with Hayward. Like I think that like definitely doesn't help it, but I really like the homages to like sitcoms, and like I like how it's deals with like grief throughout like the season. It's just WandaVision is definitely the show where I've been like most excited to watch the next episode for. So I think that like has something going, I guess.
I think it's a fair point. Yeah.
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 Like Catherine Hahn is great. I think like sure her villain is not like the best, but I think she gives a really fun performance, and like Best Agatha All Along is a really great song. So it's like super fun, but yeah.
Matt, do you want to speak up?
I'll put an A tier. So
Matt unmuted, so I
He
wanted
did
to
unmute himself.
can you guys-
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear
Well,
me? Okay.
Yeah.
well, okay.
I think you guys are correct with the finale. I get the argument that Agatha Harkness is like a Disney villain. I don't really care. I think I love Halloween Town, and if she showed up in Halloween Town, I would just be all over it. I think it's great. Going back to the Mephisto thing, like that's like literally my only criticism. Like they knew what they were doing. There was so much Mephisto, like, and along the way, like throughout the entire series. And
Oh, we're losing our caller, Matt here.
Hey, Matt, you still on the line?
yeah,
Matt, we're completely losing you, brother.
Yeah,
But we got some good takes
We
from
got
him,
some.
or
Yeah, we
interesting
got some.
takes. Yeah.
Matt's
I know. I
strong
have
ass
to
on
mention
this.
the Theseus's ship part was like a really creative way for the
Oh.
Vision fight. But
Matt, still going.
Okay.
All right, Matt, I think we just can't hear you. So
Yeah.
if you can hear us, we're gonna
Oh.
continue onward.
We did not
Um,
remove him. He left.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So
I'll do my-
I agree with you, Matthew, on that. That was a cool bit of the finale.
It was the highlight of the finale for me. Is the
probably it probably was.
I'm
Yeah.
happy whenever MCU does some sort of creative resolution.
Mhm.
I think this one has the highest highs and some of the lowest lows.
yeah, no, that's totally.
The shows. Yeah, definitely.
The second last episode is my favorite episode of the MCU so far.
I agree.
Of the MCU Plus so far.
Yeah.
Um,
I love the episode 8. That was,
and then it ends with Agatha Harkness holding her kids on leashes and going, "You are the Scarlet Witch," and kind of ruins it's still my favorite episode, but it's ridiculous and it's I actually don't hold it against it that much. It's just kind of okay. Now we're back to the tone of the original. So I'm fine with it. That's just a funny scene to me. I was a sucker for like Malcolm in the Middle and Modern Family stuff as a kid, so I thought they parodied those very well. But it did suffer from the fact that they were getting into we got to resolve this story. And it would have been cooler if they just like didn't reveal anything until like several like episodes in. Whereas like we got peeks at the outside before I think we needed to, which changed the momentum of the show. Yeah, Thesis ship, cool. And we'll see where it goes. I really like the exploration of grief in an interesting way. I actually I didn't care about Wanda and Vision as characters, but this made me care, which was impressive. Even with my searing hatred for a certain cast member. Not searing hatred. Paul, hit me up. Let's work together someday. I'll get you a role you can make your own.
Jesus Christ.
So for me, it ends up high B.
Also, Quicksilver fake out was so lame. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah,
no, it's lame. I don't care how you defend it story wise.
I mean,
it's lame.
how do you defend it? The guy's name is Ralph Boner. Okay,
I don't know. Well, the dick joke was lame. The dick joke was lame.
No, but they know what they're doing. That's the thing. It's not even that they were trying to go for something different. It's that they knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just by having him appear at the end of an episode and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the cliffhanger is
cliffhanger, and then
they framed it.
Even though he's a great part of that Halloween episode. It's just that I mean it implied implications to the MCU, and then it just shattered them and said, "Nah, we're good. We're just gonna call him Ralph Boner and put him off to the side."
Yeah.
I feel like the show as a whole just suffers from like not committing 100% to its ideas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy Woo though, great. Here again.
Woo, Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo.
I thought he would have so much more to do.
This is the best Darcy has been in the MCU.
That's true.
That was a low bar. That was a low bar.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
It is a low
God,
bar,
she was here
right?
when she was all the way down here. You know, it's like
Still true.
all right. Wait. So I forgot our recap on. So I'm low C.
Low B.
Low B.
High B.
High B and
Low A.
Matt has it as S tier.
Mid A, I guess.
as S. Okay,
It
so it's got
probably
to
ends up somewhere in B then, right?
High B.
low
High
A.
B. High B. Or
put it
I
here
can
and
see
we
the
can
argument for
get
low A.
ready.
I didn't go
Okay.
low A.
Yeah.
Wait. Well,
It
no,
could be low A.
That S. I don't know where his S is ranked, but that I could carry it to low A.
Let's just
I
throw
don't know.
low A for now. Might as well.
I would.
that tier.
Please keep it B. I don't think I could.
Yeah, I might fight you guys on this one. I don't know.
I'll put it in
preeminent
mid
order
A, like,
rankings.
I'll have mid A.
Yeah. Okay.
If we put it up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let's keep it at high B for now.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Let's
And
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Who's
Yeah.
gonna fight for this one? Anybody?
I wish I could. You know, that's the thing that hurts me about it is that there's a lot of interesting things they set up, especially in the first 2 episodes that just kind of are there and then gone, and then Sam has his arc of being Captain America, which I appreciate. In some ways, I kind of wish it wasn't here, but at the same time, it's a cool entrance. I think Bucky gets somewhat of an arc that's fairly interesting. John Walker is a presence, I guess. I don't know. I think I feel so bad for what's his name, Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
I mean, because like you're put into that role, and you know inherently that they set you up in one way and they got to bring you down. So I'm curious where he goes forward and seeing how he develops. But as it stands now, he's not that great of a character. Best scene in the whole show is the boat bit with them just fixing the boat and having fun. And I wish there was more of that. And the training sequence was really cool too.
Yeah, I think the best thing that these shows have done is make me care about characters that I was otherwise indifferent or disfavorable to. In this case, I just didn't particularly care about Falcon, and this show made me like him. But I still don't think it works that well as a show. I've heard about production difficulties, which may not excuse it, but it might explain why it has some weird gaps that it does. Like there might have been a pandemic plot line or something that they scrapped really quickly. But yeah, it just ends up being cool. I like Sam more now. Bucky gets shafted. They set up John Walker, who could be cool, but they couldn't commit to making a U.S. military member a villain, so they try to give him a redemption that he doesn't deserve at the end. And yeah, so it just ends up being not that great to me. And it takes these cool ideas and then makes them awful because they're being done by a murderer, stuff like that. It's a very common thing. They do it with Killmonger as well, but it still works for Killmonger.
Yeah, I don't know if Colin, you're gonna mention anything. I haven't mentioned the flag smashers.
I have a lot to say about them.
I'll leave it then.
They are terrible, really underdeveloped. I get it. I heard about the virus thing, that there was a scrap plot line. I don't know. They called themselves not terrorists, and then they blew up this hospital or something, the refugee hospital. They're not defendable, but even I get where Sam is coming from in those episodes where he tries to talk her down, that she's redeemable or whatever. But I just don't think the show makes it work. Zemo's fun. I feel like he didn't have a lot to do. He's carted off to Wakanda somewhere.
I like Zemo in it.
Yeah. His dancing's great. This show's best moments are the smaller moments, like the boat scene and Zemo dancing. I don't think the action shot particularly well. That John Walker versus Bucky and Sam should have been really cool. Shot terribly.
I liked that one. It shot terribly. I still like that.
I like that scene, but it's bad. It is not shot well. I don't know. It's okay. I feel like it introduces a lot of cool ideas at the beginning and just falters in the finale. Again, it was not great. Like you said, that John Walker redemption arc doesn't really work. Sam's speech is
dude.
Yeah.
We're being we're cool, we're woke.
Bucky's arc is glossed over. He doesn't really even get to talk to, I think, Mr. Yoshida. I don't remember his name. Yeah, he doesn't they don't even show him talking. He just opens the door and then they skip it. And what the hell? I don't know. I'd have to go high D. I was very disappointed with the show, although I think it does make me like Falcon more, and I guess that's a win, even if I think it's just faltered in many ways.
I'm now prepared for Sam to take the mantle more than I was before. I never said, but I'd put low C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say another thing that no one's brought up is Isaiah Bradley is easily one of the best parts of the show.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah,
it's cool, but he doesn't get much.
He doesn't
knowing about his character and
I think going forward in the MCU, some of these retcons will be really interesting. I don't know if that's fair, if you call that a retcon. It's sort of. There's been a couple. But I do agree with you, Matthew. I think he's a really interesting part of it. And the last scene with him getting to see it in his his place in the memorial, of course, surrounded by the rest of Captain America shit. It's kind of funny to me. I don't know. It's it's really impactful, but then you look at the scene and you're like, well, okay. I mean, he should still have problems with what had been done with him. Just yeah, but it's still emotional. That not discrediting that. But yeah, we know I talked about it, but Sharon Carter is the thing that
oh yeah,
I can never put my mind on, because in a way, I feel like I gotta see more where she's going. But I do like it. I think otherwise, that character would have gone to the wayside and just been forgotten as a part of. And they're trying to rework her in a way that makes her more compelling going forward. Along with Valak, I'm never gonna pronounce Julie Louis-Dreyfus character. Madam Hydra. I'm just gonna call her a comic name. That's not what she's going by right now. But Contessa, something. But yeah, her element there was a cool cameo. I think it wasn't supposed to come when it did. I think Black Widow was supposed to come first. But I still think it's a cool cameo. So
it's gonna be.
We are forgetting one thing that would just show a little bit. Emmy nominated Don Cheadle.
I was gonna make that joke. Yeah. For 2 minutes of screen time.
That's part
I
of
Don. Good for him.
Anyways, I don't think I said my ranking. I'm high C.
So low C it is, I think.
Yeah, because I'm high D tier.
2 low C's, 1 high C, 1 D.
And a flat
Yeah.
D, Matt.
What flavor high C are we drinking, boys?
It's low C.
For Matt, yeah.
That joke doesn't. It's low C though.
Yeah, but we said high C.
Nice. All right. Do we go to Loki next then? Since it kind of overlaps with Black Widow, but
yeah.
Loki and Black Widow around like
Loki started first.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Sorry.
The further I get away from it, I don't know how I feel of it as a whole.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the most consistent show, but it's not one I love. Like it's consistently good, but I mean, yeah.
It's the shortest. It's the same length as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it's still like a few of those episodes I feel like could almost be cut or at least compressed into one episode. So yeah, it just didn't like. I think it's the opposite of WandaVision, where it started. Well, okay, WandaVision, like I guess this doesn't apply, but Loki started cool, and then I stopped caring for a bit, and then I liked the ending a lot. So that's how it's different.
I'm around the same.
I just don't have much to say, man. Like if you try to start applying logic that it applies to the universe, then it gets really weird if you try to apply that logic across the way, and it's not explained super well. But I don't know. I don't feel like I can weigh in on that. So, B.
Okay.
Yeah, I would put it in B.
Well. Interesting. Yeah. I think I kind of agree with Andrew. I think it did have kind of a weak start, even though there was a little bit of intrigue there. But as it keeps going along, it definitely picks up, and by the end of it, there are repercussions that are really fantastic. That I will enjoy seeing what happens going forward. Tom Hiddleston's really good here, but it doesn't feel like the Loki that I know from the other movies. That's kind of a big part of it for me, and part of that is because in a way he's from Avengers, and then he has a whole redemption because of it. So in a weird way, he is Loki, but he's like his own character, partly different from the one who died in Infinity War. Sylvie's cool. I think she's arguably one of the most compelling parts of the show as it goes along. Owen Wilson, a lot of fun. Yeah. Didn't say wow though. Disappointed. That is. We got a now, but not a wow. Very disappointed. Season 2 needs to fix that. And yeah, the TV as a whole is the TV as a whole feels weird because by the end of it you realize how much of a control they had on reality itself, but yet feel very small scale because of the way TV production works. Even with like some really cool CG shots of like the environment, the TVA, they really only are in hallways and offices and yada yada, right? And they put them in separate places to kind of expand that. But yeah, I don't know what else I can really add here other than I'm excited for season 2. But I need season 2 before I'd make a decision on this show as a whole. But as a season 1 right now, I'd put it like mid B, but although I this because I disagree with where WandaVision is, but like for me personally, I'd still put it somewhere on B.
I thought the show got off to a slow start like you guys did. I think episode 5 is actually my favorite episode of any of the shows so far. I think all the multiple Loki dynamic is cool. I think.
I was gonna mention the stuff with classic Loki was pretty.
Yeah, Richard Grant's performance is fantastic, and he made me care about his Loki in a matter of like 20 minutes. So, I think 5 and 6 are decent. Like Kang kind of came. I don't know how I feel about Kang. It might have to be a season 2 and further MCU thing. Obviously, I'm glad they didn't do like the whole Mephisto bait and switch that like WandaVision did, but. It's difficult. It's like you said, Cole. It's something I need to see going forward because in terms of if this were the only season, that'd be a super disappointing ending. It would suck. But obviously there's more going forward. So I think Kang has a lot of potential to be cool. Jonathan Majors' performance was fun. 5 and 6, just I think both pretty strong episodes. Started slow, a little too slow for me. So I mean, I think mid B tier is appropriate.
I want to say before we finally rank it, I think
You're ignoring some good comments.
I think episode 6 is such a weird. Episode 6 is such a weird thing because in a way it feels like it is the last episode, but it almost feels like an epilogue in a way. Even though we're still progressing forward in the plot in the way that it's very much in one location for the most part, with a couple, of the other characters coming in through their own scenes in different locales and whatnot. But the dynamic of that episode works because of Jonathan Majors, and I don't think that's appreciated enough. Because imagine it was like, I don't know, like Lee Pierce as Ronan giving that exposition. Like it'd be so boring. Like it would, and it would be such a disappointment. Even though there are so many repercussions to it. Yeah, that's all I really had to add. I think episode 6 is really good.
Yeah. I think it finishes strong for sure, unlike the other 2 shows. So it's got that going for it.
So should we rank it now? B tier.
Yeah, somewhere in B tier.
Yeah,
we can rearrange everything later. We're just gonna put it there.
Are we gonna hit the 3-hour mark? I don't know. Let's see.
We're getting close.
I'm feeling like we will.
In the comments before we move on, or
yeah, let's go.
All right. Well, Steven is asking.
Done is way too top heavy. It's middling out. You just wait.
Yeah,
it's gonna end up top heavy. It's gonna end up top heavy. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's because it's collaborative. It's gonna be we're balancing out.
I think Hulk is an F. I don't think Hulk is an F.
I do.
Sorry.
Okay, well, horror remakes have a lot more variety in terms of quality. I will stand up for the MCU in that regard.
Let me be clear. No, I'll do it at the end. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, wait. Let's get to Black Widow because
I'll get to all this later. Black Widow, D or F?
D.
God damn it! Oh my god! Can I start and then make my case?
Sure.
And we'll go down from there. I think it's no different than some of the action in the other movies. And if you're looking at them as theater experiences, I think it works really well in that way. The villain is technically a villain. He's there. He's doing something, but who gives a shit? I think I like their family dynamic as a broken family, even though they aren't technically. Florence Pugh, best part of the movie. I think, although despite all the news about Scarlett Johansson, I feel like this is probably one of her weaker performances in the MCU, mostly because you're having to set up a lot about her backstory without having her be a character in that way. So it's hurt for that reason, but I think even like the Taskmaster twist isn't really that crazy to me at this point. It's kind of like I kind of expect of the MCU, and maybe that's a disappointing way to think about it, but
that just means you think less of the MCU. Not that
maybe. But to be honest, they weren't going to go out of their way to. That's the thing, is that these. like, you know, they're not going to go out of their way to develop that villain in there anyways. They're basically the antagonist force physically as somebody else is behind, right? Why it had to be whatever that dude's name is, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like, it doesn't it doesn't feel right either. But yeah, the prison escape sequence, really cool. I think, and I think the criticism is a lot of the finale, especially by the time they're jumping off the giant space platform, which for a Black Widow movie, if you told me there was going to be this floating base in space in the Black Widow movie, I would not have believed you, but it happened. So I'm defending it, but I'm not defending it highly. I would say it's low B. Yeah.
I guess we can go to me next, since I don't think it's like the worst, but like Cole has already mentioned most of what I liked about it, except that the action was not good. It's like super shaky cam, like a lot of quick cuts, like probably the worst action in the MCU. David Harbour is fun, and Rachel Weisz is kind of just there, but
Yeah, most of them are just there. You just like certain people more, and so you give them more credit.
No, David Harbour, I do. Like, I liked his character. Like, I really liked him as like the dad, and like, I think their dynamic together works really well.
I like the character. I like the actor. I just don't think it's used well. Same with Florence Pugh. Rachel Weisz, I like as an actress. I've seen less of her, I guess, than the others. But and to be clear, I'm still saying this from my own tier list. I don't think it's as bad as Ant-Man and the Wasp or the Hulk or anything Incredible Hulk. I don't think it's as bad as those. Those should be F, but it's still D tier or high F for me. It's nothing interesting. Unnecessary story. Like, cool idea for a villain that's essentially wasted. The pheromone thing is stupid. They don't use the widows well, like as a cool organization. There's just like so much more cool stuff that could have been. Like, especially if you just look at the way better action franchises. Humor didn't work for me, which is true for a lot of these movies, which is going to come up with Shang-Chi for me as well. And just a waste of a lot of characters. And dude, like they can do female representation so much better, and it wasn't done well here.
I mean, I know this movie could have only done so much in terms of its release date, but in terms of being the first MCU movie back in theaters and having a character that's dead, it was stacked against it from the start. I thought it was boring. Like you said, Matthew, the action wasn't shot super well, which is like, I feel like the whole appeal, like a spy action thriller. First Taskmaster confrontation scene was cool on the bridge, I thought.
Yeah.
The dynamic works because they're all good actors. But yeah, I feel like it was just disappointing in terms of the first movie being back. I know the movie can't help it, but I was just, in terms of these are theater experiences, and this just wasn't that exciting. So high D.
Okay, for you, not true to the character heads, Colin and Colin. How do you reconcile Taskmaster in this?
I don't know. Okay, you're talking about my Spider-Man thing.
Yeah,
you're talking about my Spider-Man thing. Okay, well, sorry to go back to that, but sorry to go back to that. I don't care about the comics that much. I think the movie tries to set up Spider-Man wrestling with his secret identity when he has to leave the party, when he has to when he can't go swim in the pool. I think the movie tries to set up and it doesn't work.
Okay, sure.
I don't care about the comics. Taskmaster, it's fine. I don't. There's no.
For me, let me be clear. It's not that she's a woman. That can be cool. It's that like this dumb little implant. Like so much.
Oh yeah, it's the implant that makes her evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't. She was middle of the road. I didn't care. Like I said, I thought that first confrontation on the bridge was neat. I thought it was a decent scene. But yeah, it's just disappointing.
Fell asleep in this one also.
Yeah,
that's a fun fact. Fell asleep in theater. I could not have cared less. I'm trying to make it seem like I'm less sexist, just because I'm trying to hide my true nature.
I think your comment about the comics thing is interesting, mostly because in the interpretations that I've seen, he's been pretty goofy to like a tragic backstory, and this just doesn't feel like him in any way. and I know that's such a weird like, but the thing is that they're translating it and they're trying their best to. But why it had to be in a Black Widow movie, I don't know. Probably because in reality, Black Widow doesn't have that many characters to go off of. In terms of like history, you could have pulled some Captain America things, but then it would have felt like almost like you're just pulling from the pool. At least trying to set up something new was interesting, but it just wasn't done very well. Going back to the action stuff, I think what Colin said there is I don't think the action is shot very well. I think the choreography is actually still very impressive.
That's
So I think giving the blanket statement that the action is bad is not fair for me personally. And I know that's important. You have to be able to see the action, right? Like I get it.
Yeah.
But when you can see it, it's good. I think, anyways.
Yeah.
literally my next argument for Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I mean, but I would give that same criticism to like a Bourne movie. You know, like I don't think it's fair.
I mean, Bourne originated that style as
Right.
like an interesting new style, and then every studio realized, hey, that's cheap, and that's what they did. So
Right.
I think different motives matters, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they had more direction in their cinematography when it comes to when it comes to coordinating the action with the cinematography. But it is what it is. But I really don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be. Mostly because some of these other MCU stuff is on the same level in terms of development of villains and whatnot. It's just this one is particularly lame. So yeah, I'm still at Lobby. So where does that put us?
I have at C.
C. Okay. I think
I
that
said ID. So I think it ends up somewhere in C.
And I was
Yeah.
D to F, so
okay.
So low C, I think, right?
all right.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess feel strongly about it.
I feel strongly about it.
Okay.
Our last one is Shang-Chi.
Okay.
So, who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll say, I think what Colin was saying earlier about a comeback, bringing MCU back to theaters. I feel like this would have been more of a better suited for that. Something new, something different, but also it's still grounded in those roots. Yeah, I think Sean is an interesting character in this case. I think what I particularly like about it is that although the Mandarin thing is a retcon, it's a way to explain it in a way that isn't necessarily geared towards like reconciling with what happened in Iron Man 3, but more so just to be, we're on our own path. We want to start from here and start anew. And I think Tony Leung is great until he gets absorbed by a soul dragon.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, I think the comedy really works here. I know this might be a theater bias, seeing it literally on Friday. So I'm sure it'll go up and down from whenever I watch it again. But yeah, and I'm not tired of Aquafina yet. I feel like she's had a lot of side character roles in a lot of different movies. I'm not quite there yet.
One. This is her best one.
It's probably up there. Shout out to the Eagles reference. I'll always appreciate that. Yeah, incorporation of MCU stuff like Abomination and Wong and little things here and there, I think is pretty fun. But it's not invasive to the story, which does feel of its own device. And maybe the setup at the very end of like the demons just coming out of this hole. I like that it's not based in something else in the MCU. But maybe you should have included it as a part of, okay. Can I get a clarification? What are we calling the new Mandarin officially? I don't know what to call it.
I don't remember his name either.
Shang's dad. We're gonna call him Shang's dad in this
Wenwu
case.
is his name.
Wenwu. Okay, Wenwu.
I'm cool with that.
I think it could have been interesting including that element as a part of his origin because you don't see much of it. In a means of getting to a point where you understand that these creatures exist and that the dragon coming out of the water is like, it is a part of it. But yeah, it being so inspired by like the character being so inspired by like Bruce Lee movies and a lot of different things. Obviously, it's really rooted differently here. I do wish the set pieces for the action, particularly in the finale, which is like a pretty small space to have that finale, which is why I feel like half of it happens on top of a dragon or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like it for the comedy. I like it for the character development. And but the criticisms that I have do probably make me put it at, I'd put it like mid B right now. But so I know that's not very concise, but it's also like been a couple of days. So
yeah,
sure
it's tough right now.
yeah,
I've got to sit on it for a bit longer. I'm excited to rewatch this one, and I'm not planning on rewatching Black Widow. So there's something about that. But should I go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll probably be one of the more negative ones on this, even though I still probably end up placing it in B. That says more about my MCU rankings than anything else. But yeah, so I think the comedy did not hit it all for me. There were like a couple things that did, but mostly I could just see the MCU jokes coming. Just like, yeah, I get your tough style of humor. Cool. I don't even understand what was happening between Shang-Chi and Awkwafina's character. I really hope it wasn't a romance because I don't think that works at all. It seemed like they were leading towards it, but by the end I thought it was like, oh, they're just friends. I hope that they leave that in the future. Ultimately, I left the movie excited to see what they did with the character, but reflecting on the movie, I was just like, I went into this with high expectations. I was actually super excited. And it just ended up being like okay to me. Really cool choreography that I feel like wasn't shot incredibly well. The bus scene was cool. Some of the other fights were cool, but then many of the fights were like shot in such a close-up way that I didn't feel like it was. I could see that it was cool choreography, and I was just like, just to do a wider shot, like on the scaffolding. I was just like, just pull out, like it'll be way cooler if you just like show it from a wider angle. It's another case of like there were a couple shots in there where I was like, that's Destin Daniel Cretton, but like pretty much like he didn't get to insert a lot of his tone. And what was it was just if I have to see one more plot about a hero who decides to kill somebody and then realizes that it's not their true way, it's so boring at this point, man, especially when you know from the beginning that they're not going to kill him. But yeah, the things that I liked, it was fun fight choreography. I really like Simu Liu.
Yeah,
Simu Liu.
Okay, I really like him as the character, and I'm excited to see where the character goes from here. Like that's I'm actually excited for that. Tony Leung was good. I thought it would be more like of a tribute to like wire food type stuff, which was only ever happening with like one character in one fight. But that scene was kind of fun. Stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, B. Probably low B, maybe mid B. I don't know.
Okay.
I did see it last night, so it's gonna be a little difficult. That's the one I need to sit on. Simu Liu is a good actor, or at least from what I feel like there is so much flashback, and I think the actors in the flashback had to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And so with that, like I feel just like Tony Leung was far and away the best actor, and just kind of acting circles around everybody. But yeah, I like it. I think it's one of the better origin stories, at least. I don't know. Yeah, I really got to sit on it and see Simu Liu or Shang-Chi and the interacting with other people. Got to see the sequel. It's hard for sure. Like I wish I'd watched it earlier. Like just having seen it last night, it's really difficult. I know I'm skewing on this positive side. I enjoyed myself. Humor was. I am getting bored of MCU humor. I think low B probably is a good spot for it.
Wait, Matt had Black Widow in F. It's D.
Oh yeah, he did. He did.
That's right. Okay.
It was D tier.
Okay.
Damn you. God damn it. I thought you were going to forget that, Andrew.
Fine.
I was going to check the Shang-Chi rating.
Yeah, I really like Shang-Chi. Simu Liu, he's good Kim's Convenience.
He is.
And
The actor, I feel like the actor said not to watch Kim's Convenience because of
because they
yeah,
canceled the show and
yeah,
Yeah.
because of some
That's
questionable things that were happening. But I didn't want to check it out.
Yeah, I
we
wanna see more
can go into that later, but not.
Yeah, no, it's not important for right now. I just don't.
Yeah, we got to end this thing, and we still got to like rank within ranks.
We can
Alright.
do it. We can do it before the 3 hour mark if we try.
No
I
shot.
agree.
Oh,
No
bro,
chance, no chance.
We want to. We if we try, we can do it.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay, yeah.
Matthew,
Let's just Shang-Chi. Sorry, not to rush
Okay.
Matthew. So you can finish your thoughts.
I agree. Like I think the Marvel comedy doesn't really work super well, but I think the comedy, like there's more good comedy than bad. I just think like sometimes like it just feels interjected inside some scene, you know. But Aquafina works within the MCU. I think like usually she's the side character with like the comedic side character, and I think it does work in Shang-Chi. Like this is the like I didn't think she was great in Crazy Rich Asians or like the other like Raya or anything like that, but I think this like her as Katie worked well. And I liked her like friendship with Shang-Chi. Like I think I really liked the karaoke scene. Like I thought that was a great moment. Or like just like the grandma and like the when they're like eating breakfast or lunch, whatever it was, right? Like before they leave. Like I really like that part. I think Tony Lun, like he's probably one of the stronger villains in the MCU. Like we understand his motivation. Like you know he wants to see his dead wife, and like yeah, it does get silly in the third act, but I think like at least he has a better like motivation, and like third act gets a little overly CGI.
Yeah.
The Pokemon scene, yeah.
I thought
I like that they represented the mythical creatures.
No, they're fun. They just look, you know,
Like,
they're overly CG.
I guess spoilers. Yes, no.
Yeah, spoilers.
I think I already spoiled something already. So
Okay, I
yeah,
guess,
we
yeah.
kind of, they know he's dead. Tony Leung's character's dead. So
oh yeah, that was
thinking-
literally the first thing I said.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
Tony Long's character until he gets him.
sorry, spoiler warning. Yeah.
Sorry.
I think Ben Kingsley is really funny. Like I really like his character. And I like Morris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was curious how you thought of that, Andrew, because you were Iron Man 3 fan here.
Yeah, it's whatever. The humor's okay. I was excited to see Trevor again because I'm a big Trevor guy, but it's not a highlight for me.
Yeah. Michelle Yeoh is good. She doesn't do a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have much to do.
Yeah.
Fun fight scene.
Yeah. I like the scene with Fala Chen and Tony Leon, like when they first meet,
Yes.
like
I
with
would
like
like
the dance fighting kind of.
I like the end fight as well. Like the actual fighting part. But
Mhm.
I also think the movie's just a tad bit too long too, partly because they keep coming back to the flashbacks. I feel like you could have consolidated those a little bit and focused more on the present.
the fight scene between the mom and the dad.
What
Is that
was
he's
that?
talking about?
No, I think he's talking
Oh.
about Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. But yeah, so no, actually, no, I'm not gonna talk anymore. All right, let's hit the 3 hour mark. Let's go.
Ronnie Cheng was in this. I like him. Ronnie Cheng.
Oh yeah, I liked him too. I was surprised to see him in the
He
movie.
didn't get
Oh,
much,
yeah.
but hopefully
No.
he gets to do some more stuff. He's a funny guy.
Now the 10 wings will return, so you know some
Okay,
capacity.
so yeah, I say B.
B as
I
well.
go A. I go A. So I guess we can put in B somewhere. Yeah. All right. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Matt
Well-
say you're A, and the rest of us are B. So it's probably high B.
Cool. All right. Should we start bottom to top?
Let's
here?
go. Yeah. Start bottom to top.
Okay.
How do we want to rearrange this?
I don't even know how.
Okay.
Oh, John hasn't seen it yet. Oh no.
Sorry, John.
Oh, sorry. To be
let's-
fair, I
yeah,
don't think he's that worried about
Young was
spoilers.
in it, or yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean they had some.
Yes. Noted good movie, Eastern Condors.
I don't. I haven't
agree.
seen that. But
I think it's cool to
I've
see him
looked into
show
some
up
of the
after.
cast.
We just watched Eastern Condors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean I know how I'd rank this, and it wouldn't include Infinity War. So Infinity War is bottom of S tier for me.
Oh, we started
then we're starting
top.
from the bottom.
That's-
We're going top to bottom. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we
Bottom.
need bottom to top. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I vote to move Hulk down to F.
I'm gonna fight you on that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's really that
Okay,
bad.
fine, rearrange it.
Okay.
There's only a few I'll fight for here.
But tell you what though, because who else did anyone else have it at F before or no? Or was it just you, Andrew?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was
I
literally
think
3 hours
most
ago.
of it has
I
D.
could see putting it below Thor.
I
Yeah,
I can.
I think
okay with
that's
putting
fair.
it below Thor.
Yep. That's cool with me.
Yeah. Okay.
I want Captain Marvel top of D.
No,
That-
I cannot do
I think-
that.
Yeah.
Black Widow playing Captain
Fine.
I-
Yeah, fine. D's fine then.
I fought for it to be so hard that like that's not yeah. I don't
Okay.
think it's fair.
How about Thor better than Ant-Man and the Wasp because it at least does something?
I'm okay
Better
with
than
that.
Ant-Man the Wasp.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
No,
Yep.
no. I'll lose, but
I'm
I
in
would
fa-
say no.
I'm in favor of that.
So
Thor being
I get
higher than
Yeah.
outvoted.
Ant-Man.
So go
Yeah.
ahead.
Great.
Cap.
Yeah.
Great. I got my bottom 3 in my same placement, not the same exact placements.
But then I want Thor above Captain Marvel.
I would put Thor above
Yeah,
Captain Marvel
yeah.
as well.
I don't care. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Thor redemption
I
arc.
would
Let's
put it
go.
above Black Widow, honestly.
Oh no, I went back to this right spot.
I would also put it above Black Widow.
All right, I think I don't think Black Widow's gonna unless
Wait, we've got 2 for Thor above Black Widow. We need Colin's input.
God, they're both so
Matt's-
damn
Matt's
mediocre.
Matt's input is that Black Widow's an F, so I think
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Thor above Black Widow.
how
fuck you, Black
Or are
Widow.
we gonna push Thor all the way to S here by this?
Yeah, actually, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is not as good as
Yeah.
Thor.
I'm
I
fine with this
disagree.
ranking.
I disagree.
I'm fine
I
with
would
this ranking. and see.
Yes, he's fine.
Actually, I might move Falcon and the Winter Soldier up, but I don't know.
I would move it up. I think Iron Man 2 is worse than Falcon, but you
Sure.
know.
I would-
Up to you.
No, I can't. I was thinking I would argue Iron Man 2 above Avengers 2.
I am not gonna
But-
budge on C. I think C is fine.
All right, we'll
But-
leave it then.
Okay.
All right, B's gonna be a toughie here.
Yeah, B's our big one.
He's hard.
Although I
He's
think that's
difficult.
going to be our more passionate one.
Yes, it will be.
Really?
Okay, do we want to vote? Okay, what's your guys' favorite in here? Is it all going to be a different? Because for me, it's
My favorite's Ant-Man.
for me,
Far
my
from
favorite
home.
in here is Ant-Man or First Avenger. So
Yeah.
My favorite's First Avenger.
Far from
So, I
home
mean,
and
that
First
means
Avenger for me.
moves up in B tier. for
Yeah,
sure.
I think.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's just put it at the top for now, and then we
Okay.
can-
It'll move down, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I can't fight it. I just think it's so average.
Ant-Man
that,
is
like,
also near the top of B tier for me.
I would agree.
I'm
Anybody
good
would
with-
disagree?
Yeah. I mean,
I
Colin,
think
would
about
you
number.
disagree?
Yeah, I'm it's like mid B tier, but that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
would
thinking
put
about
it in
number there.
I wish we had written all of Matt's down because I'm forgetting where he placed some of
I
these.
think
We don't
Black
have-
Panther should be above.
Oh, I'd move
Black
Black
Panther should
Panther
be
up.
higher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Black
I
Panther.
would put it above Ant-Man, but I don't like.
I'd put it between Ant-Man and
Yeah.
First Avenger.
I'm comfortable with
So would
that.
I.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would put higher, but
I will fight you.
If no one else agrees.
I'm fine with Wonder Vision sitting mid B for sure.
I think
Shang-Chi I would also put higher.
I would move
Hmm.
Spider-Man up. No.
I mean, Matthew wants to. I don't care. I think it's lower B, but
I think it's.
where do you think, Colin?
But yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Doctor Strange is gonna get shafted here.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
my thing
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, because like that third act, I think the third act alone elevates it above
Yeah, sure.
Shang-Chi.
I think it's above
Yeah.
Shang-Chi and
Yeah.
Wonder Vision.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Anyway, Matthew, would you disagree?
Yeah.
You would disagree?
What? Spider-Man?
Sorry, Doctor Strange. We got off.
Doctor
I got-
Strange.
We
yeah,
said above
yeah.
those two.
I disagree, but if you guys already all agreed, then I'll put it up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I think that works actually.
And then I think the biggest crime here is that Loki's above or is below Division.
Yeah, I do think Loki's better than
Sure.
WandaVision.
Sure, we'll move Loki to
Ever
WandaVision.
so slightly. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
I'm sorry, Matthew. I'm sorry.
So Shang-Chi just on the bottom. I would put it up, but I don't know if anyone else is
I'd move
alright.
it up.
I
I'd
just
bump it up.
I saw it last night. I need more time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a.
can we make a tier that I need more time? Is that one?
Yeah,
Please?
in between B and C, like
Yeah.
still thinking.
Probably here, but we need more time. Yeah, if I'm being real though,
I
like
actually like it more than Doctor Strange, probably, but I think
Really?
it's a more creative ending, so it's cooler and it has better visuals.
The action is also just really good. So.
I think I'm just in.
The action choreography is really good. I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's shot well.
I think
too.
it's gonna be
It's shot better. I shot better comparatively to a lot of MCU
Interesting
films.
thing. I think the fight choreography is okay, and the movement choreography is fucking dope. Like when he's like swinging around, I'm like, hell yeah, that's
Yeah,
sick. When
yeah,
he's punching
yeah.
people, I'm like, all right,
Yeah, some of the best fight choreography in the MCU.
yes,
For
I agree
sure.
with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, does anybody want to try to push it up here?
Shang-Chi.
I already argued that I would, but
I will.
guess.
I'd push it up a bit, but
I would put it.
I
At
know.
least,
Oh, yeah,
I feel like it'd be so weird putting the two TV shows at the bottom, but I'd put it
I
above
would put it above
Loki and below Strange.
okay.
Would anybody disagree? You want to go
That's fine.
one?
I mean, I
higher?
would
think
put it
that's- I
higher,
think it's
but
sol- I think it's a solid spot.
I would also probably bump it a little bit higher, but not enough. To
Okay.
get our-
I just didn't want Doctor Strange to be last, and I thought that's where I was going to end up. So
Okay.
Yeah, I
think
think
it's fine. Yeah,
so too. So I
Yeah.
think.
yeah.
okay.
Between Spider-Man, I mean, I could see it between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Again, I still need more time, but I think that's good.
I'm fine with that.
Where did Matt have it right now? Okay.
He had it at A tier, so
yeah, 8
Shang-Chi.
here.
so yeah.
I
the
think,
fact that
I
it's
think if yeah.
now
then
that
I
it's
would
more
leave it
towards the
there.
middle, I think
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
Time
Okay.
to go to war. Time to go to war, baby.
Okay. No war, man. We can be.
There's
civil.
there's no war. It's all peaceful here.
Civil War.
Civil War, bottom of it.
Which one?
Civil War.
Civil War.
But yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm fine with
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
I like it a little bit more than that, but yeah.
It's on 8.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. No, Iron Man 3 bottom of 8. You can get outvoted here, dude.
Top of A tier. But no, we're advocating
No,
for our
man.
position. I'm
No, I
thinking
think that's good for Civil War, actually. Sorry. Iron Man 3.
I'd put it top. Cole puts it bottom.
No,
I put it
would
middle.
okay.
I'll put it
I
middle.
don't like Civil
Yeah.
War.
I'd put it middle.
I need Guardians 2 above that. I cannot watch that.
I would put Guardians 2 above it. Yeah.
I'd put Guardians 2 above Iron Man 3.
Are we all okay with Ragnarok being top of A?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was so close to having it S.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
I'm
I'm
trying
okay.
to make
I
a
do
case
think
in my
it's
head
top
for
eight for
Iron
sure.
Man, but I don't think I could.
I'm knocking
No.
Iron Man down.
I would put it below Volume 2, but
That's below Volume 2. I don't. Well, if I'm outnumbered, then I'm
No,
outnumbered.
because
but
I think
yeah.
I'm getting dangerous. There is too much. No, because then one
Yeah.
could go below 3. I'm not doing.
I can't. Yeah, then we're really having problems.
No way, dude.
Yeah, I don't think Iron Man's below Volume 2, and I don't think it's below
I think
3.
it's below Volume 2. I can leave it at below Volume 2, but
that's where I would put it. But I wouldn't put it above.
No, I'll leave
lower
it.
than Iron Man 3.
no, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 should be right below Thor Ragnarok, but I'm not. That's not going to happen. So it's fine.
Be excited that Iron Man 3 is where it's at.
Please,
That's what I'm
please be
saying.
excited.
And I am. But you'll have to-
because you somehow convinced me to get it up there in the first place, and I'm not going any higher. I'm not
Bro,
budging.
we can't put Spider-Man above it.
No, we can't. No,
I'm okay with this.
unfortunately, I don't think we can. I like this one. I think actually, no. Actually, no. That I
You
like
know what,
And I
Andrew?
wouldn't
I
budge
appreciate
on
your
it.
love for it enough.
Yeah. If you're that's why you won me over. He's
I'm
that
really
passionate
low.
about fucking
I'm sorry.
Iron Man 3. It's like wow. All right.
Yeah. All right. And the big kahuna.
here it comes.
Okay.
I would
Guardians.
lower the Avengers.
Yeah, I think Guardians goes up for sure.
I think I'm gonna be the only one who makes the case for Avengers all the way to the top. Would anybody
Yes.
disagree? I'm the
No,
only one?
I
Okay.
think you're.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Okay.
I mean, I like it a lot. I like it a lot, but I think Guardians is above it at least.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't put Winter Soldier at the top. is the thing.
That's my problem. Because like you put, because like,
But I'm so in
can't
favor of Winter
event movies
Soldier.
over good movies. Like there are good movies and there are good movies, and then there are event movies. You can't like put them in one because it's an event versus just being a solid movie. But it hurts me if we really did put Winter Soldier at the top, because as much as I love that movie, I don't think it's doing as much in terms of the scale of it compared to the Avengers.
No, I think the other two are just more impressive movies at their base. Like just alone, I think Guardians and Avengers are more impressive than Winter Soldier. I like Winter Soldier a lot, but
Dang. What's in D tier?
Are we moving at Endgame or Infinity War at all here?
I would put Endgame higher, but
I would put Infinity
I would
War.
put-
below Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I'd put Infinity War higher than Endgame.
ooh,
Yeah.
I don't agree there.
We need a tiebreaker.
Come back.
Well, we can check his
Matt
MCU
put
rating on
Endgame at
Letterboxd.
S. I think he also.
Don't worry. Yeah, I would say I would.
So you just
I would
didn't
not
put-
reference my if I were to leave.
No, I think I think Matt's like even.
You think?
Matt's
Well, you think he's true about his letterbox ranking? Because like today made me question all my entire letterbox ranking for sure.
I've been re-ranking my letterbox as we go.
Yeah, I know. No, I need to go. Don't any star ratings. Don't look at mine. Any ranking.
No.
Yeah.
My MCU
Yeah.
ranking. If you look at stars, it's not sorted the same as
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Mine
exactly.
is. I'm the only consistent one.
It's hard. Okay, it's not easy.
I can think a movie is lesser quality and like it more still.
Yeah. I feel the same.
And you should just embrace subjectivity because objectivity is impossible.
You can try though.
You can damn well try.
Keep trying.
Okay.
Ranking.
All right, I lose on the Avengers, so if I'm gonna lose, can I make the case for Guardians?
Here's the thing: I'd rather be Avengers
Yes.
top than
No, Guardians can be top.
Yeah,
Guardians can be top. I'm in complete agreement
I'm
on
okay
that.
with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I do want Winter Soldier to be.
I would
higher.
still put Avengers above Winter Soldier.
I'm not budging on that one.
I would not.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's 2v2, and I don't remember where Matt is, so we'll leave it.
Matt has it higher on his list. Winter Soldier above Avengers.
I think we should that changes for all of us in this thing.
No, listen, this is okay. I'm okay
Whatever.
with this.
I'll leave it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. That's where I'd put it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how
I like this. I think it's good.
Okay, now wait, let me pitch something. Iron Man 3
up.
F tier. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't even do that. That's not even fair.
Great. That's
but really, Spider-Man above Iron Man 3.
No.
Okay, Steven. We get it.
We already solidified A. We're not going back to A.
We're comparing only MC then no. Yeah, okay. There we go. Sure.
So true.
God. I do want Homecoming above Iron Man 3, but at the same time, Andrew's just so passionate about it.
Yeah.
That it's making me want to keep it there.
But it's fine.
It's like I understand everything he said. I agree with.
Can I go back to one, which I'm looking at this out of all of these things that, like, I kind of am really interested in what you guys think. Black Panther above First Avenger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it, but I'm fine with it.
I can see the argument, but it seems like we're tied. So, and I just like the.
All right, I think we have to leave it there.
I think.
All right, yeah, all right. Well, this is it, I guess. Well, let's just end the show. 'Cause we're 3 hours.
What? That was in 11 minutes.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
so we're saying this is the final tier list.
Yes.
Thank God.
Because-
I thought Iron Man 3 was going to end up tier C.
God, we could have watched Endgame in
I
this
still
amount of time.
would, Andrew.
We
but
could've.
You will not
I did
budge.
such a good job today.
S tier, I agree with you, and I'm being serious.
Sam, we're not asking for your. Wait, what?
You just said it was S tier.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Sam. Sam, I
You're
agree.
gonna yell at me. For
Rachel, you've not finished Loki. I think the ending is the best part, and that's the only reason.
I
It's
mean,
a
the
B.
best part, easy.
Yeah.
But we got Tarantino Thursday,
Woo!
9:30
Fun.
or whenever Sophie versus Pranav is over.
And there are less than 28 items on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys will have a much easier time. I hope.
Will be much shorter. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Hey, thanks for hosting, Matthew. This was a
Thanks
lot
for
of
hosting.
fun.
This was fun. Yeah, glad we came to a.
Just that
A
image
decent
of the three
conclusion.
kids sitting in a circle debating something useless. But
You did, yeah.
whoever's still here, yeah. Hey, let me.
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
my name.
John, I know Steve, I know you're not the biggest fans of these, but thanks for sticking it out.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, John.
Yeah.
And Steven, too, I guess. You guys are like not huge on
Sam and Rachel had to, so I don't really have a lot of appreciation for them. But yeah,
All right. I'm going to end the broadcast now.
bye.
Bye.
Right. Bye, everyone.